Can they see inside your mind? Live tonight on Architects of Humanity. I'm your host, Max Doubt. Mr. X, what's up, bro? He said, looking forward to this one. Yeah, man. This is a real topic. A lot of people think it's not. On the thumbnail with the cameras in the brain to monitor the synaptic activity. They do. Anybody can look it up, man. Anybody can look it up. Cameras inside your head, right? They'll try to lie, of course, and say, well, there's no real cameras. But if you go further, endoscopes exist, the tiny cameras on flexible tubes used to look throughout the body through small openings, incisions, right? But they say they're not floating freely in the brain. But there are injectable sensors, if you look that up. Academic research has tested microscopic 3D printed chip cameras. They're not widespread, they say, but they do exist in medical use. Brain scans, we know, MRIs and so forth. It gives an image, radio waves. So when you think about MRIs, right, map the inside of your head using magnets and radio waves, not tiny cameras, but the fact that radio waves can map it. There's a theory that 6G is possibly. Mr. X, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you, MD. Good to see you. Great topic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a reality, man. It's a reality. A lot of people, again, zombies will immediately just try to come out and say it doesn't exist or whatever.
But here's an important point. And I didn't want to, I want you to go on with your introduction, of course. But the question first has to be addressed. Is the mind a part of the physical brain, or is it a separate entity altogether? I think that's a question we have to address, is whether or not they can see into our minds. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
it part of the brain or isn't it? And I don't know if that's scientific or philosophical at this point, because
Yeah.
science will say it is, but they can't really necessarily prove it.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. It's definitely that's the thing. They are it seems that like the brain being a receiver, there could be some type of imprint that gives them like a like an image, which they have machines, they say. I mean, anybody can look up and see the pictures of
Mhm.
the how they do it really, and it's not seeing exactly what you're thinking, but if you think about a static picture, the AI and the computers can get a map of what your brain looks like thinking about that picture
Hmm.
and seeing the picture that you're looking at. So you're looking at a picture, I think they did it with a picture of like a butterfly or some type of insect, and they're looking at it. So now when you're looking at this picture and it knows the picture you're looking at, it matches that with the synaptic function in the brain. So it kind of gets like a rough image of what you might be seeing. And of course, this goes way beyond what they would tell us.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty deep.
I
Red
just
blood.
wonder if they're looking at the pleasure centers, because definitely pleasure can be interpreted as physical. I'm sure there can be some reaction in there, whether it
Hmm.
be pain or pleasure, and there could be some type of chemical reaction in the brain to
Yeah,
distinguish between the two. I'm
yeah,
sure.
definitely. Red blur, good to see. He says mind and brain are separate. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say that that is true. It makes totally sense. But what I'm saying is what they can get an image of is when you look at something, the brain being a receiver sends out like it's like let me see, how could I put it?
Maybe
Like,
like the signal, if it likes or if it dislikes what it sees. Could that be a way to put it?
well, let's just say they start with a basic thing.
Hmm.
You look at a picture of a circle and the brain synapses have a certain pattern when you're looking at that. And then you look at a picture of a triangle and they see the difference of when it's looking at that compared to the brain waves of when it's looking at the circle and then
Hmm.
a square. So now they're getting a way to say, okay, the brain is looking at something. We know it's a circle, and this is the pattern we see in the brain when it's looking at this circle. So, of course, the mind does go beyond the brain, but
Right.
there is a way, like, kind of trying to think of what's an easy way to kind of put it, where it's like if you're looking at a television screen and your mind has like a certain pattern or certain synapses firing pattern. It has to have both to really make this work, because you need to say, okay, we need a template of, we know what it's looking at, and this is what it looks like when it's looking at that. And then it changes when it's looking at a different picture, and we know the different picture that it's looking at, the square, the circle, the triangle. And
Hmm.
now, when it gets more advanced, it's like, okay, we can look at a picture of say an insect, or an ocean or something like that, and they're starting, like, they can read the brain wave of that to say, okay, this is the electrical activity. Um, Trying to think of a good example, what would easily explain this, in like a different, like an analogy or a metaphor type of thing. Um, hmm. Like if it's a hard one.
Hmm.
Um, you know, like it's because I'm trying to think what would represent the mind and what would represent the picture of what you're looking at. I mean, looking at it in the thing of, okay, when you think about something, thinking is like a video camera trying to get the whole video or thought, and then there's also something beyond the thought. But a static picture might make it easier to see, oh, when he's looking at this, he gives this, it has this pattern. So it's like you look at the square, and now something in the brain has a pattern that could be linked to the square to say, okay, whenever the brain is looking at this square, we notice this pattern in either this part of the brain or, the whole brain. And then when it looks at a circle, we see that part of the brain change and give this pattern.
Right.
So now if it decodes that, kind of like an animal's language. So, like, if a bird has a chirp, for, which they have decoded this and AI has helped them, where birds have a different call for a snake as opposed to like a different predator. So a snake is something that they have to, I think, evade the nest. They can't get away from it or something like that. They have like some videos on it. So the fact that they could say, okay, we see the snake coming and it makes this chirp, chirp, chirp. But when we see a predator bird coming, it makes a chirp, chirp. So we know the predator bird, we know the type of predator, and now we see the type of language it uses. And we see the difference between the language it uses for the hawk as opposed to the snake, as opposed to, say, a raccoon. So that would be language. So we're looking at the language that's expressed to the type of predator. Now, with the brain, we're saying we're looking at the pattern, so representing the language, the chirp or the chirp chirp, compared to what it's looking at, the square, circle. So this is like a basic, very rudimentary type of way of looking at it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. I did see similar studies done when they look at the brain of a gambler and they try to focus on the brain wave patterns when involved in gambling, the pleasure centers or something to do with the brain. And they did notice different patterns. I think they did it with alcoholics too. I can't remember, different people with different compulsions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, it's just a bridging the gap between science and spiritual, I think, in a certain way, because I understand what they're doing, and I'm not against it, of course, but they're getting into they're trying to relate the mind in some physical realm. some physical part of the body.
I'm not even sure if it's the physical realm,
Hmm.
um, like that the mind would be in. The mind is still in a non-corporeal realm,
Right.
but it's enough to get the signal that's coming in, to decode the signal that's
Hmm.
coming in. Like there could be a way to shield it, maybe, but like I'm trying to think of another analogy. Like being able, this might be a good one. You have the television screen and you're seeing the picture that's coming in. And now the signal that hits the television before it hits the cathode ray or the LEDs now, you're seeing, oh, the signal looks like this. It has this bandwidth, it has this shape.
Hmm.
And now I see the picture on the screen. It's showing the picture on the screen. I can match that bandwidth to this picture. So that's like the bandwidth representing the thought, and the picture on the screen representing what it translates to. It's a rudimentary, it's a very crude way of explaining it, but
Oh, but it's
like
a good one. It's a good
yeah,
way of explaining
yeah. So something like that. Now, again, it doesn't prove the brain and the mind are the same. It actually proves that they're different still,
it. Hmm.
because it's showing that it changes according to thought. And it's still not able to explain where the thought is coming from. The evolutionists will say, well, the mind makes those chemicals up, and that doesn't really make sense. Like we see that
Yeah.
it's probably coming in. Like I went to a book meeting earlier, and they were writers, and they were talking about stuff that they wrote. And there was a guy that wrote for the newspaper here in New York. And long time ago, he worked for it for 30, 40 years, older guy. And I read off the first 2 pages of American Zombie. And I told him, I said, look, two, three ladies were there, all of that stuff. And everybody was older. And I go, look, this is a mixture between fiction and reality, because if I tell it in a reality form, people tend to, it's harder for them to accept it. If it's I told him, I said, it's just like Rod Serling when he wanted to talk about racism. He can't talk about it in present day, but Buck Rogers can talk about it, because it's fantasy. So it's like it's easier for people to swallow in that way. And when I was telling him about it, I read it off, and they were like, oh, it's good. And he was the biggest critique. He had critiqued other people's work. I was the last one to read off out of like maybe 7 people. And he starts to be like, well, it's kind of like, different things. You're saying that everybody is zombified. And I'm like, yeah, it's fiction mixed with that. I said, when you talk to people, you do see that they're zombified. And then he started to say Republican, Democrat. I said, yeah. I said, well, later on in
Just
the other
prove it.
chapters, I said, I explained that, with the political zombie. And I said, in the category of political zombie, there are Republican, Democrat, socialist, communist, all of this stuff. I said, so I break it down. And I was surprised that a guy, he could have been 70, but probably in his 60s, who knows, probably 70, I'm not sure. But he just, I was like, I can't believe this guy just doesn't understand it. And,
Hmm.
and the meeting was ending, and we got up and we were still talking, because I go, look, man, it got to where I could see the immaturity, because I was like, look, you're acting like right here on this page where I say the political zombie. I said, you're bringing that up. I said, if you brought up something religious, you would be in this category. And then he said something like, oh, no, well, you're the zombie then, like made a comment. And I said,
You
okay.
serious? He said that to you?
Fact that he said that showed me right there, Hyperborean. I was just like, yeah, this dude is, it's like, wow, you just not, you have to criticize everybody's work, right? And it's okay. But when he read his stuff off, it was like, okay, we didn't really criticize it that much. But I saw, like, with this guy, I'm like, okay, you wrote for the newspaper, so you're not understanding that this book goes deeper. What do you get? You get 2 pages, and you're trying to tell me, oh, well, I should have. What do you want me to explain everything in 2 pages? You have to read the rest of the book. And one of the other guys there, he caught it. He goes, wait. He goes, so what you're trying to say is Like, I'm trying to understand, how do they eat the thoughts? I said, well, if you're a Republican or a Democrat and you're telling me about voting, and I tell you the voting doesn't matter, your vote is like, just, they don't care. And then you tell me, well, this and that. I said, right then and there, you see, you're not accepting what I'm saying. You're trying to change my thought. You're trying to tell me, well, what you believe is correct, that
Right.
the voting does matter. I said, so, and then he kind of understood it. He goes, oh, okay. I said, say I tell you a food is unhealthy, even if I'm eating it, and we're seeing the ingredients, and you not wanting to accept that. I said, so you're trying to either change my thoughts, trying to minimalize it or something like that. And he caught it, and the guy was listening, the older guy. This was a younger guy that was saying this. He had to be like, I would say, in his late 20s. And so we started to walk out. The meeting was ending, and the older guy says something like, he went on, oh, well, the mind, we act in a certain way because, 100,000 years ago. No, he go, because I go, yeah, I go, the only thing, like in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, we can look for other survivors. I said, so it's not saying that everybody is totally zombified, but later in the book, I start to find survivors and stuff. And he goes, oh, well, that would be a cult, because I could see the guy was still hurt, so I'm like, okay, he's an immature. And I see this all the time with guys in their 60s, 70s, that they're just, it's really sad.
Well, they
And
got to grow up a little bit. That's all.
yeah, he'll never,
Maybe by 150, he'll get there.
yeah, he's never going to grow up. He's going
I
to
know.
die an idiot. That's
Yeah.
for sure, and especially, with the paper. He was trying to tell me, oh, well, the paper has changed, the digital, this and that. And I'm like, well, critical thinking has minimized, and for some reason he doesn't want to accept that. But what really nailed it was when he said, well, the survivors would be like a cult, and to try to like justify that, he goes, well, we, 100,000 years ago, we had to live in groups and this. And I said, wait. I
Hmm.
said, listen, I said, that, how do you know that? That's a fairy tale. I said, there's no science behind that. And then I go, carbon dating, if anything, can only go to 60, 70,000 years. And he's like, oh, well, carbon dating is very accurate. Now we know it's not very accurate,
Right.
and he tried to bring up, well, it's based on, he didn't say equilibrium, because we know it's, a type of equilibrium. I forgot what the word is of, the carbon in the atmosphere has to reach a certain level. Is it equilibrium? I forgot the word, but then it starts dissipating, the half life.
Hmm.
So we don't know if equilibrium was reached, if, or, when it was ever reached. They try to say, oh, 30,000 years ago, So that's why, if that is the point, then that's the highest that you can get an accurate reading. But we still don't know that. And when he brought that in, he didn't say radioactive, but he said a different word. And I said, no, I said, you don't understand that we really don't know. But let's just say, for argument's sake, you can get 30,000 years or 40,000 years. You're not going to get a million years. And then immediately he was like, well, humans weren't around for a million years. And I said, well, according to evolution, Homo erectus, Cro-Magnon, all of that stuff, was. And he was like, oh, the predecessors. So I'm like, I said, even the predecessors have been debunked, and we were reaching the door. So it was like, all right, and I think it was like, all right, hey, it was a good, reading, and he walked away. They were having some type of concert outside in the park. It was freaking
Hmm.
like a million people out there. I was like, God damn, the cops was everywhere, like, directing people to park. I had to park across the street. And so he left. And then the lady that ran the group, she's there, and she comes up to me. We're in the front of the space, and she goes, because I mentioned something with the Republican, all this stuff. I said, yeah, you can't really talk to people that are political zombies. And she goes, I have a friend, and this is older white lady, it was an older white dude. The younger dude was like a Latin dude, and and she goes, I'm a Democrat. And she goes, I have a friend that's a Republican. And she goes, she's telling me that the landscapers don't want to, she can't get them to come by. And she goes, I mentioned to her that they're scared. And I said, yeah, they're probably scared of ice. I said, these people are, everybody's, got all people just spreading rumors about them. And I'm not saying there ain't no criminals, but I'm saying, look, oh, Conscious is here. What's up, Conscious? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Conscious.
You too. I'm just gonna chill until it's the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah, I was on the other page because I pulled up the cameras inside your head. I had typed it in. But yeah, when I was so she's telling me this, the older lady, and this lady's got to be like 70. All her hair is white. She's a really nice lady, and
Hmm.
there were two other older ladies there, but they had already left, and um, she was like, yeah. She goes, it's crazy that she can see that, and then the Republican lady can't. And I'm like, yeah. I said, of course. I said, they want to beat these people down for being immigrants, but then expect them to be waiting to come and do their little piece of a suburban yard or something, or because there's funny enough, there are people with front lawns and houses in Brooklyn, over by Linden Boulevard, and and then if you walk a little distance away, ghetto, like you see the typical Brooklyn, and so she saw that, and I was like, yeah. I said, it's really, she realized like, wow, you're one of the few people I can talk to and say this, because other people just don't get it. Like, oh, why aren't they coming around? They were supposed to come by and I guess cut her lawn or maybe trim her bushes or something like that. And I'm like, yeah. I said, I hear what you're saying. They're afraid because they don't know. Why would they risk getting snatched up just to go do that? And
Hmm.
she goes, yeah, yeah. And then she goes, she's having, I forgot the date she said when they're having the next one. It's like just a writing thing where people criticize and read off some of the stuff they wrote. But yeah, it was,
I wouldn't even look at that as criticism, though. I'd look at that as closed-mindedness because you had a different opinion, and he just didn't want to. He didn't want to even hear it. He wanted to shut it down with information that is already mainstream, or is that just pushed down our throats? That's just the official narrative.
mm,
So it wasn't a criticism because he wasn't even open to your ideas.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah.
And I told him, I said, look, I told everybody, I said, this is a blend. I don't know if it exists between fiction and nonfiction. I said, I'm not sure. And they were like, oh, no, there's hybrids, this and that, before I read, and everybody else read their little piece before me. And I noticed he was very critical of other people. I guess maybe because he worked for the paper many years and was retired, that he thought he knew more about writing and stuff. And he was saying, well, everything's changing. If I write a thing on the phone and it goes past three swipes, nobody reads it. So if I guess, whatever it takes to scroll up three times, he's like, and I said, well, because attention spans, but when you go to tell him that, then it's like, no, attention spans, are not diminishing. Well, then what the hell do you think it is then? You know what I mean? It's like, so you're telling me people aren't looking past it after three scrolls up, but that clearly is showing you, one, all right, either you're writing some boring stuff, or two, their attention span is only for three scrolls.
Or
And,
there's just more options right now. I mean, it's not the old days. You remember when we were kids, we had the Sunday paper. Big deal was the Sunday paper.
and
Not
that's a
anymore.
perfect way you just put it, because he did say they'll go somewhere else. So just
Yeah.
what you said is totally right. And but when he went to the evolution thing, when he tried to say, oh, well, the cult and all of that stuff, um,
Hmm.
oh, thank you, Red Blur. Let me just text to see. Thank you, I appreciate that, brother. Um, let me see. Oh, yeah, but the guy, right? He he was, when he went to the, we were, the cult, the survivors would be a cult, and
Hmm.
and you know because 100,000, and he brought up the 100,000 years ago, and we're leaving the room at this point, and because we were in a room having the discussion, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, 100, once I heard 100,000, I was like, holy smokes,
We're done. We're done.
just like, wow. And I was like, look, how do you know that's true? And then he started with the, well, we had to live in groups and all of this, and I'm like, and that's when I was like, the dating, it can only go back like 30, maybe 60,000 at most. And
Hmm.
and then that's when he was like, well, it's a very accurate data. And then I just realized, I was like, I'm the idiot. I was like, why am I even talking to this guy? It's
Yeah,
like,
but
okay,
he's the norm, though. That's the zombies that are out there. You got to expect that. That should be expected, though. Is all I'm saying. On your part,
yeah.
you
Hmm.
got to know that most people you're going to deal with just closed-minded zombies. That's what
Yeah,
you're going to deal with. They're just going to believe whatever they were taught or
yeah,
told.
yeah. The evolution.
Wherever Neil deGrasse Tyson teaches is the truth.
Oh man, Neil deGrasse. It's sad because he's extremely smart in some areas, but
Yeah.
when it comes to evolution, it's like, come on, man. It's like,
Well, I'm not saying he's stupid. I'm saying he's just a propagandist. He gets well
yeah,
paid to promote his stuff. You know what I mean?
very well paid, professional liar.
Hmm.
Um, and it just, yeah, it really, when I think about that, it just, I couldn't believe he jumped to evolution. Um, it just,
Most will.
yeah, it really, it kind of took me by surprise. And I was just like, all right, Red Blur, brother. He says, keep the live streams going, fellas. Peace. Red Blur, thank you for the $10 donation, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, this is yeah, I'm gonna keep the streams live, keep the streams going, man. Thank you, man, for your support. This is I'm so happy to be doing them. I got home late from doing this meeting, and that's why I started the live stream so late. And
Hmm.
I went, got something to eat. I was like, man, I was running late, and I said, it kind of, when the guy was saying that, I was just like, it kind of was wearing me out because the meeting was about, I think it was
Right.
a little over an hour and a half. And what really was, I had to search for parking, man, for like 10 minutes, I think maybe
Hmm.
15 minutes. And I had to go back across. I was like, man, I got to park across the street. I don't know if it's safe. Um, didn't know if, because the cops are all over and stuff. You never know what's going to happen. And then I just said, you know what? Let me just park. I parked next to this lady, walked across the street, and then, I had actually my book thing. I had like this folder that I bring the stuff in, and I had the first like couple of chapters of American Zombie, a pad to where I can write, because sometimes they'll ask you to write for like 5 minutes, and I did that at this other meeting
Hmm.
last month, because I think they're doing that to see, I guess people are using AI.
Right.
So I wrote, like for 5 minutes, read it off. They're like, oh, all right, this is good. I'm like, yeah, I can write. I'm really a writer. I'm not, I don't need Chat GPT or anything. And it just, yeah. So
But you know something, MD? If you really want to write a great book,
mhm.
you're going to have to go against the mainstream.
Yeah,
So don't expect approval from others. That should not be the expectation, because
yeah,
if you really want a great piece of literature, it's got to go against what the mainstream narrative is.
yeah, yeah. It definitely does, man. And I'm gonna they have one tomorrow, right? Tomorrow night has like a creative writing. No, I think it's just a writing, community writing. That's what it is. And
Hmm.
they read off some of the stuff, but I noticed there's always somebody there that thinks they know everything,
Of course.
like an English major or something. This one lady, I think she might be running tomorrow night's group. It's at a different place. And I told the lady tonight, because she's like, yeah, how'd you find it? I said, well, I looked on the internet. I go to some of the other ones. And so she's like, all right, if you want, put your email, I'll send you stuff. And she was cool. Tomorrow night, I don't know if I'm going to go, because that lady, she seems like an English major, but it's like, there's a lot of people there that I think are writing just to get stuff out. And I
Hmm.
understand that, like a therapy type. And when I had went to the one a couple of months ago that they had, I brought Secret Words and this other book I produced with a friend of mine, Jill. And I, they, I think it kind of was a little too much, because I don't think any of them were published independently or anything. And
Sure.
they were just writing stuff off. So I said, maybe I'll just, I could see there was this one guy there, and he was, he was writing about like just stuff in his life, and he he was kind of like, you know, I think he kind of felt some kind of way that I had just, and those are just two books that, you know, Secret Words I mentioned, but I don't mention the other one I published with my friend a few years ago, because I consider that, you know, hers, you know, we did interviews with certain stores, put them in there. And it just, yeah, I'm very surprised that a lot of the writing groups, today when I came back, I said, you know what, I don't even know if it's worth going to these things, because it's like,
Hmm.
they, you know, that guy just is a pain in the neck, you know. And I was just like, man, this guy is just, you know, I figured I'm welcoming criticism for it to be better. But
Hmm.
when he brought in the whole evolution thing and all of that, I'm like, you know what, you know, it just, like, say I write something about evolution, because this is how it was when I read off the zombie book. Instead of saying, oh, you have a grammatical error here, or this could have been worded in this way better, he
Right.
started on the content. Like, well, how do you know everybody is zombified in the book? Because I'm like, you know, everywhere I look, you know, everywhere I turn, they lurked. You know, the zombies, you know, this and that. They were everywhere. When I said anything, you know, I had to be careful what I said, this and that. So I'm reading it off in a fictional context based on
Right.
what we see in society. And instead of saying, oh, okay, because I'm like, look, I told you it was part fiction, but then your whole thing is, well, you're saying everybody's zombified, but not everybody's zombified. And I was just like, there's no way this guy could be that stupid, you know? And then I'm thinking, all right,
Mhm.
well,
You'd be surprised.
yeah, exactly. You'd be surprised. I should have been like, yeah, he worked for the paper for 40 years or 35 years. I don't know if it was the Post or the Times or whatever. And he was a little disgruntled because he was like, yeah, things are different. And, you know, not many people, I guess, are getting the printed paper anymore. And, you know, I said, yeah, the electronic stuff. And we were in a room, and it was kind of humid. Like when I walked across the street, I had a tank top on, but when I went into the building, I have like a collared shirt that I carry with me to just, you know, put on to look a little more presentable. And I was still kind of hot, and the room had an AC, and it was just kicking in, so it was enough to where I was like, all right, yeah, if I take off my shirt now, I feel more comfortable. And he was cold, and he had a regular short sleeve. I had a tank top, and I'm thinking, no, it's still a little warm in here. And he was putting his like his newspaper thing on one of the AC, because the AC was on the side of the room and it was blowing upward, the one that's against the wall. It's like a industrial thing, I think. And I'm just looking at him like, yeah, you know, I wanted to tell him like, man, leaving the paper on there, it's blowing up, you know, the paper stuff, you know, the smell of, you know, because newspapers have those smell, you know.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I don't know, it just got to where I was like, man, you know, I read a quote today. It was like, I'm not hiding from people. It said, I'm healing from people. And
That's a good one.
yeah, you know, and I'm just like, man, every time. And, you know, now I'm back and I'm just like, man, anything when I try stuff. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, all the stuff I did, the books I wrote, I said, it just doesn't matter. I was like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And, you know, Scribe and I talk about this all the time, because he'll push me in different directions saying, look, man, you got to do stuff. And, and I'm like, bro, I just don't know sometimes. It's like, and I knew this from animation. I'll draw some quick stuff. People would like it. I take my time, do this, make it, and then doesn't even get the reaction that I expect. So it's like, I
Hmm.
just might as well just do whatever I'm going to do. But yeah,
Well,
man.
but don't do it to please other people. I would focus on
Oh,
your
yeah.
on what you
Whenever
want
I
to
do
do.
that, that's when the problem comes in. You're absolutely right. It's like if I just do it, it gets a better response than when I do it to say, okay, people might like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I
Conscious
mean,
was,
if you want to make something to people to like, you should start out with that idea in your head to begin with. You know what I
yeah,
mean? If
yeah,
some type of work, whatever it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was going to read, I think I had an old video where I read off some of American Zombie, but I updated it so much, I got to like redo it again. It takes like about, I think like 7 minutes to read 2 pages. So yeah, it'll be like a 7 minute video. But Yeah, conscious if you got anything, any thoughts about can they see inside your mind? Yeah, I think she's on mute.
Um, yeah, well, the beginning, I was like, not, I should, I mean, I wish I listened to completely everything you guys were saying, but I do think that they have like, like all the heavy metals that are being put in our brains, like the nanoside particles and, all that stuff. Like, I think that does have something to do with like their ability to map out our brains and different, temperatures or chemicals like you guys are talking about. And, I definitely think they can, like whether they get in our eyes. I have no idea how they do it, but I think they do some kind of, there is some kind of, I don't know, technology, or it could be like just different dimensional beings can have access, just like, they can, they don't need to use their voices or talking. They can like speak directly, extraterrestrials or whatever can like speak to their mind or whatever. I mean, they could probably like see inside your thoughts. I don't know. See what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I hear what you're saying. It's like with the metals, they might be able to get a better signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely see that because there is some type of thing with that. They have, I didn't save the pictures, but I remember seeing where they have these cameras that when they hook the electrodes up to the brain, I don't know if it's called an encephalograph, the helmet or the like, it's like a material, material with the electrodes on it that they put on people's head to track the brain waves.
Right.
And then they'll have that to a camera and then have the person look at a picture. So now they know what they're looking at, and then you look at the screen and you can see the patterns. So now they can match those patterns to what they're looking at. So when you're
Right.
looking,
Right. Right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That
So
makes sense. Totally makes sense.
yeah,
And
yeah. Mhm.
I think like back in the day, like when I was working in LA, it was like probably 25 years ago when this happened, and we were, our offices was being scanned. Like they had some like, I think they were like Israeli. I don't know if they were Mossad, but Israeli security guys would come into our offices and scan the room and the place for like taps and cameras and stuff like that. And I tried to hire that guy to like check my apartment out when I was leaving LA, but he was at the Cannes Film Festival. He wasn't available. But like I was told by my bosses that like even 20 years previous to that, which would be 40 years ago, they had technology that if you had any kind of open window, like a glass, they could have like laser or different like technology that goes through windows, and it basically bounces off the entire room, and they could totally get a visual of like everything that was happening within the room by the way that they were bouncing off and reading the signals. So like it wouldn't be like a picture perfect clear image, but they could get pretty much everything that was happening you know at a certain level. So I mean, not that they're doing that with your brain per se, but I know that they've with
Mhm.
technology, I mean, it's crazy shit they can do. Excuse my language.
Wow. Wow. That's and I did hear they can do stuff like that with the router, like the router and the what's the modem, like in the Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yeah, they're saying that they can get that radio image like of what's in the room. Like there's a way to have like it bounce.
Right. Yeah. That's like an evolution of like that older technology I was talking about. Yeah. They just
Mhm.
like, let's bring it in everybody's homes.
Yeah.
But is it just the brain? I mean, you could look at the heart rate, you could look at the voice, the speech
Yes.
pattern.
Yeah,
There's so many
definitely
other things that
temperature.
they can look at. Yeah.
Right. Right. They can know like if you have fear or love, they would know you're emotional. Yeah, depending on the heats that coming off of you, because we get hot and like, yeah. I mean, there's
hmm
all different ways to read things.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean, when they
when you,
do a lie detector exam, isn't that the heart rate?
yeah, I think yeah, heart rate, and if you see them sweat, you know that they're probably lying or nervous or
Mhm.
whatever. Um,
Right.
but when you guys were talking about timing and dating, of like carbon dating and all that stuff, like whatever's been going on with whatever they want to tell us, did you guys ever hear about that fossilized like man's leg in Texas? Like it was from like 19.
Yeah, in a cowboy boot.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. If I
that
don't know
was
if you,
that was
yeah,
crazy cool. Yeah.
Mr. X heard about it. I mean, let me look for the picture of that.
I did. I don't remember that actually.
It was crazy because I was visiting a friend in Atlanta, and I had been I don't know, out of nowhere, I just sang out loud. You know that song by Sting is like, "I will turn your face to alabaster." You know that. What song is that? I will
I'm
turn
not
your
familiar with.
face. You don't know that song?
Oh,
Are
wait
you
a minute. No, no, but
wrapped
yeah,
around
no,
your
I do.
finger? Yeah,
Wrapped
wrapped
around
around
your
your
finger.
Oh,
Yeah, now I know
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. I
yeah,
will. Yeah, it's like a really like it's a beautiful kind of like crooning part or
yeah. It's
whatever.
like
But I
I'll
just
be wrapped around your finger, right?
Yeah,
right.
I
But
have it in my music
I will.
list.
He's like, I will turn your face to alabaster. He's like really going off, and
Oh,
then he's like,
really? Wow, I didn't know the lyrics. Wow.
yeah, and he says, soon you'll
Like,
find your servant is your master. But it
Yeah.
was like it was a crazy out of nowhere. I think I do channel a little bit, just just a tiny bit. I'm like so like not developed at all, but like out of nowhere, I just like sang this, and I was like, I don't know why I just sang that. But like the next day is when I found this video where it's called like "The Rocks Are Alive," and that's where I saw the information about the guy's leg fossilizing, in the 70s or 60s from the mud floods or whatever. So it was just like really funny because I was like, the universe works like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the coincidences are crazy, but yeah, it's like you don't need like they tell us how many years does it take to fossilize a tree? They were like thousands and thousands, or
oh,
I don't.
millions. Yeah, they'll
They told
lie.
us millions. They told us millions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I found the picture here. I'm uploading it now. Yeah, they. I think it was Hovind that brought this up. This picture right here. This is a cowboy boot with the leg fossilized inside.
Yeah, and there's a whole YouTube channel based on this kind of thing. It's called Mud Fossil University. It's pretty
Hmm.
fascinating. That guy is like pretty smart, and he's like all about like he thinks that like all the big rocks, like everything is fossilized from giants that used to live here, and they all
Hmm.
died in the mud floods. And he's like going through all the rocks, like the veins. He's like, this is the blue vein, and this is the artery, and this is the vein. I mean, he
Oh,
goes
like
into
giant.
depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, giants. And he's like saying he's like all these minerals and precious gems, they're all minerals from these giants like bloodstream. And it was like it's just crazy when I've only watched like a few of his episodes, but it's pretty fascinating. The
Hmm.
guy is legit, and of course none of the universities will talk to him because I think they know he's onto something and they don't want the real stories to get out.
Oh yeah, anything that goes against the status quo. I've seen one where some fossilized trees will will turn to rock and then crumble, but then others he was showing that they can turn into different types of like rock, like a type of uh like
Granite.
yeah, yeah, not granite, but like I forgot the type. It wasn't opal exactly, but it was more of a like a jasper or like a different type of rock like that. Opal is known to infiltrate uh like they have an opalized skull, I think, in Australia. So it's like the opal filled in where the skull was, and now this it was a skull, an opal skull. Like it took the appearance of that after the bone from the skull the skin disintegrated. And
Wow.
yeah, there's certain types of that's how it works with some fossils with like fish and stuff. You'll see like, okay, this is not the bone, but it's the imprint from the crystals of the rock that over time fill that in. But now some of it could take a while, but there's many instances where it doesn't take that long. And
Right.
yeah, the cowboy boot is a perfect example of that. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
How about those like geodes of the amethyst crystals? Like they like in down in South America, they have these huge, you know,
mhm.
geodes of this like beautiful amethyst, but it's like they think it's like big fish. It's like the
Yeah,
inside of a big fish. Like
yeah,
how it. I mean, it's crazy stuff.
yeah, yeah. I could see some of it. Mark, good to see you, man. Good day, all. Timbo says is it Mud Fossil University with Michael Tellinger?
Michael Tallinger is not. Mud Fossil University is a channel. Michael
Oh,
Tallinger
oh
is a
no,
different.
it
He's
says
a
he
different teacher. Oh, he did a live with him. Oh, you
yeah,
probably did. Yeah, I
yeah.
I didn't see
Yeah.
that, but
I
yeah.
spoke with Michael Tellinger about maybe 15 years ago on Kathy Buckaloo's show. She has a channel called Truth Connections, and she has connections with so many people. She hasn't did much on her show, uh, in about 10 years. She's still got about 7,000 something subscribers, but I remember she put me in touch with Brian Forrester. I spoke with him when Skype was still on. Skype changed to Teams now, and Forrester seemed like a cool guy. And
He's
then
into researching like fossils and stuff too, right?
yeah, he's more into
Aliens.
the guided tours all through Mexico with the pyramids, the ones in what was the one, Mexico City, the pyramids of the sun. He takes people on Egypt tours. He was born in Peru, and he speaks Spanish, I think, and then he goes to Bolivia, and he does a lot with like ancient artifacts, and his thing was those long skulls. What were they?
Right.
Oh yeah, those things.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but he was like really on those long Inca skulls. And Tellinger, I had read his book Slave Species of God.
I
Like,
love that book. That's so much
yeah,
better than Sitchin's,
I
right?
left it in South America. I was like, man, I left it with my friend Juan Carlos. I should have brought it back. I should have never brought it there because he didn't really care, and I don't know what happened. I lost touch with him, but I had, yeah, I read that. And then Tellinger was on Kathy's show, and I happened to get on. Like, I called in. I forgot if it was from telephone. It might have been when she had the Blog Talk Radio hooked up to that. I was asking her earlier this year if she was going to start it back, but she's been like doing a lot of things, and so I told her if she gets back on, because she still has like 7,000 and change. I said, look, she knew a lot of people, man. Mark Passio. She met a lot of people. What was that guy's name? Jim O'Keefe, I think it was. He's a little radical, Jim. And yeah, she's got a lot of connections. I didn't even know, like, I met people through her. I think yeah, Jordan Maxwell, Michael Sarian, all of those people. Yeah, but she's a little older. Kathy's got to be like maybe 61 or something like that. So she's a boomer, I guess.
What's her last name?
Buckaloo.
Buckaloo.
Kathy Buckaloo, Truth Connections. Yeah, cool people. She definitely. I met Kathy online. Shoot, like this had to be like over 15 years ago. Yeah. And she needed an artist, and my friend Tony is a better artist than me. And I put her in touch with Tony, and he became good friends with her. So we just were all like pretty good friends, and we spoke on the telephone a few times. We exchanged numbers, all of us, and she was just always a cool person. And she just stopped doing a show, I think, about 10 years ago or more. But
yeah, it looks like she has 8,000 subscribers. I just looked it up.
Yes, yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's her. Yeah, I thought it was 8,000, but yeah, I probably went up. I kept like asking her, like, hey, I'll give you a hand if you want to do it again. And she's like, she needs a push, because I think she was like, she just turned 60. I don't know if it was last year or this year. And, I was like, well, just let me know, if you want to do that. And I told her Tony's still around, and, I told him I spoke with Kathy. Yeah, she's cool people.
Right.
Cool people.
Maybe she's struggling with her health a little bit, because that usually happens to women. Because
I think it's that, and also I think she had a troll or two.
Oh.
Yeah, and these people, man, they're so messed up, because it's like, somebody like that is just bringing knowledge, but like like when they have different theories or they're interviewing, people just are very hateful. I saw somebody today. One guy.
There's also targeting. There's actually targeting. Like if you have a big enough audience, or just if the dark spiritual forces think that you're going to make some changes, they'll fuck with you. Excuse my language.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and that happened. There's another guy, Mark Landman, and Mark, he produced a documentary called Frankenskies about the trails in the sky, and I was seeing the way they were trolling him. And then there's another guy, Byrne or something. I forgot his first name. Something with a B, or something Bernard or something. And he was showing. He does. I think on Instagram he takes pictures of the sky, like video, and you can see the trails. You can see the trail. and people are just lighting up his comments like, he telling him he's an idiot. And I left some comments saying, man, look at all these people just, zombified in the comments, just trying to say like he'll be filming a jet flying and you'll see the trail and they'll leave comments like, oh, look, I saw a jet today or something, just stupid, just, I mean,
Mhm.
sad the way
those could be bots too. They have a lot of bot farms. Like
yeah,
those bot farms are crazy. Like, and
yeah,
the AI is all
yeah.
on that.
But hopefully he'll still keep doing it. Matt is definitely I would say like maybe on the liberal side. He but he like with his chemtrail stuff and his he would do stuff like be in a supermarket, say, man, why does everything have sunflower oil and canola oil and soy? He just bring up good questions, and people would troll him, and it just that I always tell him like, look, man, hey, you know, I support you. They make fake profiles on him, and it just, I'm just glad he's doing the work out there. CD man, good to see you, bro. Yeah, this it's hard. It's hard. Like, look, when Crazy Numbers was cool with us, once we didn't even have a disagreement. It was like he just couldn't understand the triangle picture I showed with the square, triangle, and a circle from different angles with the shadow. And he didn't agree. He goes, "Oh, you could see all three." I said, "No, no, no. The picture is showing you that each shadow is coming from a different perspective, And
Mhm.
and of course he's like, "Oh, the Jesuits can see all three." And
Yeah, that nailed it right there. And he didn't care. He just wanted to promote his garbage. That's all it was.
And then, yeah, and then he started sending trolls, and we had a stream. I
Mhm.
don't know, it was like 5 hours. Man, so many trolls came on. It was hilarious. They were coming on just like f you this and that. I was like, all right, thanks, whatever. And he just
But
yeah,
it shows their level of stupidity. That's the best they control. It's like no wonder they follow him in his
yeah.
gematria. They're brain dead.
You hit the Hall of Fame though, man, with Crazy Numbers. When
Mhm.
the guy came on and we go, "Where'd you come from?" He's like, "Oh, Crazy Numbers." I'm like, "This is
It's spreading.
yep, it's spread." And you made him change the tank top, the dirty the wife beater,
The wife beater, yeah.
wearing for like 100 streams in a row, and it just yeah. When you said he now he's wearing something else or something, and
That's why you got to finish your book on American Zombie because it's real life. It's the
yeah.
truth.
Yeah, when I brought it to the reading today, I said, because I told him, I said, look, I was going to publish this. And then when I got done with the 2 pages, I said, I said, the reason I'm not publishing, and I said, too many zombies. And then,
Hmm.
the dude, he got, because I tried to tell him, I said, look, what you're doing right now, you're not, you're supposed to be criticizing the writing, but you're criticizing on what I'm saying about the character saying the zombies are everywhere. I said, that's not the criticism because I told you it's fiction mixed with reality. Because if I tell the story in a realistic point, you're not going to be able to swallow that.
Right.
He just kept with the thing, and then I saw like, all right, and I didn't want to roast. I was like, okay. I said, if
But
that's
it's a real life zombie you were dealing with.
yeah,
The book, what you're writing is the truth because you had to experience it too.
yeah. Once he said 100,000 years, I was like, oh brother.
Yeah.
Because like so 100,000 years ago, you were there, and we were living what in tribes or something, and you know, I was like, oh brother, I was like, this
No
guy,
point even continuing at that point. Yeah.
yeah. And I was at another like a town thing, like people that were concerned about like they have different topics about like they were talking about the Fauci thing. That's what it was. And
Hmm.
it was a group last month that was saying or just recently, like last month was a couple of days ago. And they were talking about that. And the one dude, he's a Vietnam vet. He was a lieutenant in Vietnam. And he's got to be in his 70s. And it was so funny. He's like, Fauci saved millions of lives and this and that. And I was like, and one of my friends started telling him, so I said, look, man, you can't tell this guy nothing. I said, The last meeting I talked to him, I said something about the trails. He told me it's vapor, water vapor. And I was like, it kind of lets me know where the person's at, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. Say,
Are you
okay.
guys
So,
aware that Fauci is like gonna get he's starting to get in a lot of trouble now? Like, is that on the news?
no, I haven't seen it. What he did, they're going to
Yes,
charge.
testifying
Oh
something.
yeah, he's testifying. He like pled the fifth like 100 times. Like he's gonna go down like hard soon. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I think like
publicly.
111 times, 112 times. Yeah.
No, what is it? What was it? 201
Oh,
times.
yeah. You know, yeah. I know. 201, right? 201. It's so
Um,
funny because he jumped in the chat on July 21st and telling us that July 20th is the 201st day just recently last month. And I said, crazy numbers is hilarious, man.
Mhm.
He just,
Yeah.
that dude is just, I don't even know what to say. He's
well, it's good news though that Fauci's going to go down. And the thing is, and I actually was listening to I was finishing watching the long Sosa video that you did a while back, and I was just listening to the conversation. But there's stuff that's like that may be coming out. I mean, like the whole taxes thing, like the people in that whole you think like the zombie Q movement or whatever, like they're all about like allegedly they're trying to like eliminate all taxes and then and destroy the Fed and have our own Treasury Department. Like that's actually not even like conspiracy theory. They're actually implementing that and backing our dollars with gold and silver, I think. But anyway, and but this is one thing. This is like a lot of the Q movement. I just wanted to tell you, like, I think that Trump is going to be exiting the stage soon. Like, like there's going to be some kind of like assassination. I'm not saying like someone's gonna. It's just like part of the
Another
show.
assassination.
Part of the show. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think he's going to exit the stage soon. So a lot of people are going to be happy, but I think it's just like part of the theatric that's going on right now.
yeah.
But I do think that there's actually like big changes happening. And I think there is going to be a timeline split. It's going to be the technocratic dystopia, and then whether you believe in fifth and third dimension, all that stuff. I do I don't know. It's weird. It's like that's like the biggest stretch I take as far as like believing something might be happening, even though I don't have any like direct knowledge or messages in my dreams that that's going to happen. But I actually just feel like that is probably something like that's going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's very weird. But I feel like, I mean, do you guys believe in dimensions and timelines and stuff?
Oh, I believe in dimensions and timeline. Sure, there are other dimensions. 100%, I believe that.
Do you believe that part of us lives in other dimensions and other timelines?
I think it's very possible we have other lives. Very possible. Like right now, the way we're talking, we could be a dream of ourselves in another timeline. Other timeline, you might be asleep and dreaming about what we're talking about right now. I could see that, sure.
Right.
Yeah, they I would think I was explaining it to the mind where he was saying something about it where I don't think he fully understood or something he was saying.
It was against talking about time, right?
I think it was dimensions when because
dimensions, yeah.
I could see because it can get confusion in thinking. I totally understood what he was saying because I had felt that way a long time ago, saying, all right, what is dimensions? But when you look at it as dimensions, like if somebody says, what's the dimensions of the shed you're building? So height, length, and width. And so that's dimensions of the third dimension. And then the second is just length and width without height. So the fourth dimension we add in as time. So length, height, width, and then the time. But when you look at it, that's only a concept that we think because it could be something different. So dimensions are basically measurements. And so measurements saying, okay, the fifth dimension could possibly be being able to manipulate the time. The fourth is just basically adding time to the third dimension. And these fourth and fifth are still kind of theoretical. So,
well, I mean, do you think we have time here though, like we have linear time, but you're saying in fourth dimension it may not be linear?
No, like fourth dimension, the linear time, see, and that's where we're not sure because like as Varun came on here a couple of months ago and he was I could see he was putting deep thought into this and he goes, you know something? He goes, I don't see how time can go linear. It has to go cyclic. So if it's going forward, it's going forward in a cyclet. It's not a straight linear line. And I remember hearing this before. So if it's going forward in, say, small loops, right? So every 10 seconds we're talking is a loop of time going forward, 10-second loops, 10 seconds loops. So it's not going forward straight. It's going forward as if you were to take a slinky and pull it out. So it's wiggly or at least wavy. So it's not a straight line. Now, if it's in loops, my whole thing was the size of the loop, if that can be manipulated or we know how long, when the loop meets, that might be a way to jump and you can repeat a loop. So if the loops are, say, 10 seconds and I can find a way to jump that loop, I can go back in time 10 seconds and I'm coming forward to the loop again. And every time it comes forward, that's the point where the time can be jumped. The whole thing is what is the size of the loop? Can it be a year? Can it be a day? So that was the theory of saying, okay, time, why would it just move forward? And funny that you said that, because I spoke with a friend. Actually, I spoke with You Gotta Laugh podcast earlier today about it. And we actually, I have on the main page, it has an interview that he interviewed me about time on his show last year. So, and we were talking about that on, what time, the past, we think we know that the past is being created by the present right now. So we know that scientifically, we can track it. We could say, okay, 3, 5, 10 seconds have just passed. And that past that just passed us was right now. So as we're speaking right now, we're creating seconds going back into the past. So if the present, and it seems more than an if, the present is creating the past, what is creating the present? Could it be the future? So the way the present is creating the past, the future could be creating the present. Therefore, the future is ahead of us, but it already exists. And how far ahead does that exist? Is it constant futures going ahead, a minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, a day, a year, a millennia? And
I definitely feel we're living in our own past for sure.
There's some type of oddness about that, because if we can figure this out, this is some deep stuff. And then I had to go into negative dimensions to kind of understand it, to say, okay, the negative fourth dimension, if time is the fourth dimension, the negative fourth would be frozen time, to where the time is not moving, like a static type of universe. And as I looked deeper into it, I said, okay, so if it's that, so the second dimension, when they talk about spirits and all of that, the shadow dimension wouldn't be limited by height. So a shadow could travel between walls without any hindrance because it doesn't have height. And that could be maybe some type of explanation of how people would say ghost goes through walls and stuff like that. So it really gets us into thinking, what are we in? So that's dimensions now, right? Now, planes of existence, as we go a little further, planes of existence would be like channels. So how you can have a radio or a television tuned to channel 2, and you switch the controller to channel 3 or 4, channel 2 is still there. But channel 3 and 4, when you tune into it, exists. So that means in the exact same third dimensional space that we see here right now, there is another channel here. But we're tuned into the third dimensional channel. And I'm not even sure if calling it the third dimensional channel would be a correct way of expressing it. It could be a different third dimension. So we're on channel 2 on the third dimension, and then there's channels 15, channel 4, channel 9 on the same third dimension. We're just tuned into channel 2. So that's how planes of existence, also known as channels, can be explained in difference to a dimension, because a dimension is height, length, width, measurement, basically.
Right, but if you're in a channel, then you only view time as linear motion going forward. You can't view it any other way.
No, it might be. We don't know how it is, but we do know that it would be the same thing, I think, as what we're seeing now, just a different channel.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But in a third dimensional channel, like the channel
Yeah,
4 would still be third dimensional if you're in it,
yeah,
versus and channel 2 are both, but there'll be different timelines,
yeah.
basically
It would
different
be a
lives.
different. Yeah, it would most likely be a different timeline. But then we still trying to figure out, is time linear? Is it cyclic? Is it like, how does it move forward? Like in a wave? A lot of, and I see why Asvarun was saying that, because a lot of the Vedic Hindu stuff that he was raised with, they
Mhm.
also have that. Their whole thing is time moves in a cyclic thing. Is it cyclic? Yeah, I would think it's cyclic moving forward. You
Well,
know,
this one spiritual teacher, Jeanette Byro, who I love listening to and checking out her stuff a couple times a week, she
hmm
she described it as a spiral going outward, like kind of like a swirl, but it actually is going outward. Like it's like the swirl that goes out, but it gets big and wide in certain places, like amplitude and like I guess in other types of measurements. Like, but it also the spiral gets smaller at different times, but it gets bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like it moves outward. It's like a growing. I don't know. Like you can create like a. You could say like a spiral going out and like forming the size of like a sweet potato or something. You know what I mean? Like wide and fat,
hmm
and then it gets smaller. But that's
yeah.
the way she described it.
It sounds just like relativity, to be honest with you. I hear that. That it's relative to speed and gravity.
hmm
That's,
Space Monkey says he has a theory about parallel universes or parallel selves that and this is deep, because the more we talk about these different theories, the closer we might get to explaining something, like to say,
Mhm.
because the logic of it would be like, wow, this makes more sense, or if we add this to that, now we get a better picture of what we thought would be. And
Right.
thinking time moves forward in cycles. Another misconception is like when I was saying, okay, if it moves forward in 10 seconds, an hour, whatever, why would it move forward in the same amount? So I'm thinking in ways that are very uniformitarianism, basically saying if it moves forward, it's going to move forward 10 seconds at a time in a circle loop, or 20 seconds or whatever. Why not move forward 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 12, 9, 8, just different amounts? Like, could it be that it's like bubbles in a pond. They're not all the same size.
Hmm.
And this is where the thinking is hard. That's why I could see why some philosophers are like, yeah, this, it's almost,
But if it's true, it needs investigation. Maybe we don't get it the first or second tries, but you got to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And we might actually come to the conclusion that mathematically we won't figure it out, and even if we thought we did, there would also be something more, kind of like when we were
Oh, I'm
talking.
sure there will be. I'm
Yeah,
sure there will be. Yeah.
I think that was the thing when we were talking with Hyperborean, that he got a little he wanted to have things fixed, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, we can have some things that are fixed, but then we'll realize reality itself is not fixed.
It's not.
Yeah, we
It's
just
not.
don't know. It's a hard thing for people to live with, that we don't know and we'll never know. That's the scary part for some. Like, you'll never know. When some people might say, well, I'm going to try to figure it out. Good luck. It's like you might get close, but it's like saying, I'm going to explore 1% of infinity. You can't. And
Right. But at the same time, we're only here temporarily. So why not? If you enjoy it, go for it. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
he
It's,
can. I mean, I hope he feels okay. Scribe today, when I spoke with him, he goes, "Hey man, do you think he's going to come back on?" I said, "I hope he does." I said, "I honestly don't know." I said, "I
Mhm.
think he might be a little bruised, but I hope he comes
I
on."
think he'll come back. I think people, and I'm just going by instinct, but I think he'll come back because a lot of other places you can't have good conversations like this.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he's
he just got to cool it with the Parmenides and all the bullshit. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just bring your own theories in. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. The
Yeah, I mean, I
Parmenides,
understand. Yeah, because we don't want to hear about Parmenides, but if you have your own, I agree with him 100% on the state of being. I agree 100% on that.
yeah. No,
I'm with him on that. I support him on that because I think that's a solid foundation to build off of. So,
he's got a lot of knowledge. I give him so much credit for
mhm.
the knowledge that he brings. I actually saved a meme today I saw, according, like, when I was thinking, it reminded me of him. And I'm trying to see if I have it, where it was something about the ego, and it was showing how the ego, it says the ego, it's in a book. Somebody had put the page, but it didn't show which book, but it says the ego wants to be perfect. It doesn't care about authenticity and truth. It just wants to look presentable. On the
Yeah.
other hand, the soul wants to be authentic, even if it comes at the cost of being misunderstood by others. This is
Mm,
why the ego lives for the self image and the soul lives for expression. Dare to be a real soul in this fake world. So that's pretty deep. As Varun, what's up, man? How's everything?
yeah,
Fine, MD.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. X. Hello,
good to see you.
consciousness. Yeah,
Hello.
good to see you too.
Hey,
Good to
we were
see you.
just talking about what you were saying about cyclic time. If you want to explain your theory on cyclic, when you were saying time, you don't see how it could be linear, that it must be cyclic, right?
Yeah, we have something called the Yugas, Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the last of the cosmic time cycle, and then it again repeats again after the destruction of mankind. So it's that way. It's cyclical, but since we're mortal, we're subject to time. If you're immortal, time does has no meaning for you. So for human beings, how time is recorded is each human being is given a number of breaths for his whole lifetime.
Mhm.
So after, when the time is ripe, actually, like death rays are sent from the cosmos, when the number of breaths actually, like for the human being is that's given to him in this lifetime stops. So we have to see how much we breathe per second, to be honest.
So,
That's the time for us actually.
all right. So you're saying that, so in this theory, it's like we have a set amount of breath, so it's already written.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
So,
human beings who are mortal, that's the problem actually. That
okay.
that there's that it I have it somewhere actually. I'll show it to you once how
Yeah,
time is recorded.
sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So for human beings actually, like prana is the most important thing, and when you breathe,
Prana is
actually
the
you're
life
observe.
force, right?
Yeah,
Prana.
yeah, yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So through breathing, actually, you absorb the life force every time. But since we breathe very shallow all the time, so the number of breaths actually is what defines time for us human beings more than everything else.
Hmm.
And it
Okay.
will be given and fixed.
That's deep, man. I am said, good to see I am. He says, why do we need validation? I don't think we do. I think it's the ego. So it's like the ego, like the thing I saved where it says the ego wants to be perfect. It doesn't care about authenticity and truth. It just wants to look presentable. It wants that validation of presentability. And and yeah, you're right. It's like, why would we need that? So the more we can control the ego, it actually shows that life becomes kind of better in a way, because when we see some people that are very egotistical, it only leads to problems in a way.
And I
Uh,
have to
em-
say, the zero population stream you
Hi,
did the other
Timbo.
night. I just wanted to make a comment
Yeah,
about
yeah. Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
ego, and that was another reason why. I mean, I was thinking there were many reasons why I decided to volunteer to not have kids, but I just thought there was so many, like, people that, in children in need of like homes, and I was like, maybe I'll adopt or like foster children at some point. But I felt like a lot of people were having children and they were like extensions of their ego, so it was just like, let me just have a couple of kids or a few kids that I can put all of my attention to and make them more important than everybody else on the planet, and only care about them. It's like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I've always just like, well, I would rather spend like my time, you know maybe serving humanity on a bigger level rather than just like a couple of people, you know what I mean? So that was
Hmm.
another reason why I kind of opted out. But the thing about time, I also think that sometimes when I did a couple of journeys or whatever, like, I felt like coming back to this time, this place here, it was like slow motion compared to everything that's happening all the time everywhere else in all the other dimensions and whatever. Like this is like slow motion land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely has that feeling. I mean, I want
I
time.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
time being
MD,
easier. Yeah, go ahead.
I just sent some donation. Did it come actually, or like I didn't see it come on the screen? I donated something, so
Let me see.
uh,
On the StreamYard, on the YouTube.
yes, yeah. Like buy something, and it's like a gift now. It's different. So I did send something. So like I hope it came actually.
Okay, let me look because I noticed something was weird with that. I think her name is Tara or Sarah as Tara. She had gave some stars. Here, let me look. I'm opening up YouTube now.
YouTube is really weird. I was going to say, Mr. X, are you signed into YouTube while we're here on the stream doing StreamYard? Are you also on YouTube?
Oh, well, I'm on my iPhone right now. I'm not on a
Oh,
computer.
so you're not signed into YouTube at all. You're just doing StreamYard.
I am signed on to YouTube. Yeah, I believe so.
You
I
are,
believe
because earlier it said one person was watching. So YouTube is so full of crap. Like they totally. And I also noticed that like after MD does a stream, they'll like have the numbers will go up if I have the screen open. Like the numbers will go up a few, but then a little bit later they'll be down. Like the likes and stuff. Like and if I refresh, like the number goes down by 1 or 2 all the time. So it's just like very like YouTube is like totally scandalous.
Yeah, and I don't see it on YouTube with Varun, so maybe it'll come through in a second. As I don't know, Varun.
No, I sent it back a long time ago. That's why.
Oh, really? Yeah, I just opened up YouTube and I closed it again. I checked on YouTube and then I checked here. Hopefully it'll come through, man. I appreciate the support, man.
Okay.
I am says, hey Max, love your show. What's the best method to send support financially? I put the link in the description for Cash App and PayPal. So either one of those are probably going to be much better than the YouTube, man. I appreciate the support, bro. I really appreciate
I think from now on I'll send it Cash App because I know I'll give a little bit of, but it's better if you just get the full amount. So
thanks. Yeah, and then I'll highlight it. Scribe. He'll send me a message and stuff if anything, if I miss it. But yeah, so it'll double check it. But yeah, the PayPal and Cash App in the descriptions, yeah, those are better. And YouTube, they take 30%, so that's it's harder too. And then we got to wait a month and all of that stuff. So yeah, those two, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was I was kind of getting to the point where I canceled StreamYard for the unlimited because it renews either the 5th or the 6th, so it's either today. So I'll Red Blur donated. I was going to add a little and then I'll just renew it for tomorrow, so I can because if I don't renew it I still get 20 free hours, but it's a lot easier just to have the paid subscription because I don't have to worry about like Scribe. He does the co-host, so he can come on and end the stream, and then I can show the pictures. I can do so much stuff with the full version, And then if we haven't had 10 people come on, but we have the ability to have 10, on. When Crazy Numbers was on, there was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 people, I think, that was on. But yeah.
So when I start working again, I'll definitely be donating.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it, Conscious. I mean, just you being here on a stream is enough. It's just happy to have you here. You've got good input, as room, Mr. Rex, everybody else. Scribe and I talked for a little earlier before I left, and we were talking a little about he funny enough, he did mention, he goes, I wonder if Hyperborean, come on. I said, yeah, hopefully he does, man. He was looking forward to speak with him again, and he thinks it was good conversation, and I'm like, yeah. And we talked about we're talking a little bit about Vedic astrology and Chinese astrology and Western astrology, because he's into like that and the psychic and tarot and a lot of stuff. And he used to date a girl that was really deep into the dreams and psychic and stuff years ago. And I have a lot of friends that are into that. I have
Scribe or Hyperborea had a girlfriend that was really into
Scribe.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, Hyperborean, I think, is married with kids. I was surprised when he said that because he said he's a family man with kids, loves his wife, his kids, and yeah, he expressed that on the stream a couple of streams ago. That was the first time because he sounds like he's around 30. He could be 40, but and he's got a good voice and a good way of delivering. He's a very smart guy. I mean, he's like an encyclopedia. But again, books don't think, and I'm not saying he doesn't think. He just like Mr. X was saying, the Parmenides thing, it's kind of funny. I mean, he's got to take himself a little more lightly, I think,
Mhm.
because it's
Right.
like, yeah, you got to be able to laugh, man. It's like it just,
And I shouldn't have butted in because guys have a way of hazing each other. It's just not my culture, and I should not like get involved because guys just do that to each other. That's how you guys work it out. I think. Right?
yeah, or even
Haze each other.
even criticism. And I said it in the reading group today. Criticism shows your character. It reveals your character, how you take criticism. If you can't take criticism, it says a lot about you. Power, when you get power, reveals your character. Stress, if you're under a lot of stress, reveals your real character. So there are a lot of things, a position, in a work environment. There's so many things. Humiliation will reveal your character. Can you take humiliation? And criticism kind of falls, all of those fall into that because criticism can be stressful, it can be humiliating, it could reveal a lot about you and shows how you act in reality compared to how you want to act. Like when somebody, and I think that was the thing with Hyperborean. I think he was trying to put forth a perfect image, but nobody has the perfect image,
No.
Well, I
And
have to say that's why I actually never paid attention to Trump in my life. And my friend made me watch the comedy roast of him, like back in I don't know 2005 or eight, and I was
mhm,
like, holy shit, the guy is actually the way he took everything. I was like, that guy's pretty cool. Like I never watched The Apprentice or anything, but I was like, he's not as big of an asshole as I always just thought he was. You know what I mean? And then I never paid attention to him again. But then I heard him talking stuff about like Hillary Clinton and like the body count that's like under the Clintons and all that stuff. Like
mhm.
I was just like, it gave me hope. So it's like I'm not zombified, but you know, life isn't always what it seems. You know what I mean? And there could be a bigger play at hand. And as Azrun was saying, like I think right now we're in the Kali Yuga, at the end of the Kali Yuga, so the next one is about to begin again. That's why the stuff is going to go down. All like all the the empires, the Romans never fell. Like this is a time where everything's going to fall. So like it's all about to crumble, I think, and there is going to be some new beginnings. But you don't have to believe me, but like that's what I feel is coming. I don't know anything about like the timelines per se, like other people mentioned, but I definitely think there's big changes ahead. And
Well, I agree with
and
that. I
yeah,
agree with
like
that.
huge,
Especially with
huge,
AI.
huge. But it's not. But like the AI one is a different place. Like that, there's going to be those 15-minute cities. There's going to be data centers, but that's going to be in a really bad version of reality. Like, but it's not gonna. You don't have to go. Like I'm not going there. Like I know that. Like, or maybe I'll just die and fade away. But like, that's not the place. I'm never gonna live in a 15-minute city. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Like, there's a bigger thing coming where like I believe like, the way I like the world. It could be like celebration, world celebration. Everyone planting trees, growing food, celebrating life, not working, not using money. You know what I mean? It's all
Hmm.
possible. Was that a child?
Yeah, I think that
No, no, no.
as
That
Ron.
that will. Someone just asked if you'll come for breakfast. I said I'll come within some time.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, but I think everybody's going in the pod. I really do. Once they experience it, I think they're going to love it and want to be in it. Um, I know it sounds defeatist, but it really is. The virtual reality will become so wonderful that I think people will just love it. They'll just forget about everything. Because I don't know, when I
That's
hear
like
this stuff,
doing drugs and checking out. Like I mean, I don't see why.
but you know what? It's too Hollywood. We can't let Hollywood influence us. We're just human beings at the end of the day. We're not here to change the world. We're just here to live in it and survive and then die eventually. We're just not as big a deal as our ego makes us think we are. You
Well,
gotta.
I don't think it's our
Anyway.
ego. I mean, but I think we've been taught to play everything down. Like we're actually a lot more important than the people that rule over us. Like, you know, we're more important than they make us out to be. That's for sure.
Well, I'm not saying that we're less important or anything like that. I'm a highly spiritual person, but I just think this temporary existence is here for a reason. It's not the end all be all, this existence. It is what it is. We live under this physical realm and under this authority, but it's temporary. It's not forever. And and there's other powers that will change things for sure.
Well, I think laying down and accepting all those things that are coming, like that's I think a dangerous, because I think we should use our free will, in more. I don't
Would you
know.
be willing to give your life up though for it, for your beliefs?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what it comes down to eventually, you know.
Exorcism AI says Revelation 96, man will beg to die, but death will flee from them, Mr. X. He's letting you know a passage. And I did hear something like that. They want to trap us, Mr. Yeah. Yeah, I
Well,
did.
for some people they'll beg to die, not for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, no, I think he's saying it's a passage
Yeah, in the Bible. They will beg for their death, but that's for a certain group of people.
And
mm,
if you sign up for the chip, they could potentially try to take your consciousness and keep it trapped in a bottle. Like, I mean, in a way, this could be what's already happening here in this dimension. But
yeah,
like,
that's kind of,
yeah, I mean, you get stuck in a loop. Like, they're already trying to download their consciousness into like a robot, but who knows what, where they'd put us. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to volunteer for that stuff. I mean, it's not that great. I mean, I mean, it's like, okay, they used to have to ask that question in college, like, oh, is looking at a Van Gogh painting, the real one in person, is it really much better than looking at like a really good rendition in a poster, like in your dorm room? And it's like, well, I guess what beauty it evokes, and this is good, but there is energy in the real thing. But it's like when you're going into AI, and they're probably going to be putting chemical smells to make you, make your experience more immersive, whatever. But that's all
Yeah.
crap. It's like you're pretty much just going to turn, like, that's what they say, the gray aliens in the future. That's what happens when people. That's like they're in the future. They're the people like you. If you volunteer to sit in the pod, that's you in like however many thousands or millions of years. You're going to end up looking like one of those little gray guys because you've like totally like lost your ability to like, you know what I mean? You have no emotions. You're kind of just like, looking like ET or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good theory. I'm not saying it's true, but it makes sense that, and then now they're actually trying to come back into the past and try to like hybridize with humans and stuff to try to get back a lot of what they've lost because they
Hmm.
did take the wrong route. So that's
Well,
just
I look
scary.
at it like foods, you know what I mean? We know the foods that they're giving us are filled with preservatives that are harmful to us, that cause cancer, or that are excess sugar, but that doesn't stop us from eating it. We're still going to eat it. We're
Well,
still
if
going
you're
to
in a lot of
consume it.
pain, and you're suffering a lot, if you're in a body that's in complete hell, there's a lot of people, there's hundreds of thousands of people today making choices with their own free will about, and it's not easy making the changes and eating healthy, healing foods. It's a pain in the ass. And you have to, your taste buds are so burned out from all the MSG and all the food everywhere. You have to like cleanse that out in order for you to even appreciate the real flavor in fruits and vegetables. And it's pretty amazing because now, like the flavors that I can get now, it's like I can't even believe how much I like certain foods that, it's just like the taste buds are just completely dulled, and it's like you need that MSG to get that high off of food, like that chemical release in your brain. It's really, that's where, I mean, but I
Okay.
understand if you've got manageable symptoms, yeah, you're gonna do the easy route. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But there
mean, but
are
if
a
you
lot of
have,
people you can fight for it.
but even the foods that we have, that they control the food supply and they can control the pesticides and the
Yeah,
steroids
but
that they put into it. And
the healing qualities in fruits and vegetables that was created, the original creation, it's much more powerful than the
of
chemicals.
course,
And
no, no disagreement there. But they control that. That's why they control that food supply. They're very
right, but
limited on what they
you
control.
can plant a couple fruit trees. You can grow your own food. You can, what I mean. There's a lot of, it doesn't have to be through. But if you want to just live the convenient, consumerist, like materialistic life that we've been fed in our little like cult of like, whatever. Like, I love that, like the Hyperborean, the philosophy, because I kind of come to those conclusions myself that like we're all living, like everyone's like, oh, look at the Scientology cult, like, oh, look at Truman Show, but it's like we're all like America, the world, everybody that like, grows up within this system of government and education, and this is how you act, and these are the holidays, and this is the religion, and these are the thoughts. It's like it's all just created for us. Like Hyperborea, like that's, I mean, that theory or that thing is like completely true, and we're all like in our own cult. But it's like we need to get free from that stuff. I don't think we should just lay down and get in the pod. You know what I mean? Like that's really
Well, the
lazy.
only people that I can see not being in the pod is the tribal people who live, basically outside of civilization. But I don't want to live like that. And at the same time,
But what do you
they
mean?
can do.
You're the only people that you see not stepping into the pod. Like I would step into it for 15 minutes. It's like watching a TV show, but I wouldn't spend time in there. I'd rather live my life, like my real life.
What if you couldn't tell the difference?
What do you mean you can't tell the difference? You're stepping into a virtual reality. Of course, there's a difference.
But what if it gets so advanced that you wouldn't be able to know the difference between what's real and what's not,
Well,
and
why do you
what's not?
want fake? Why do you want fake everything?
What if you don't know it's fake? Is what I'm saying. It just seems just as real as this life as we're
But you're
living in right
choosing
now.
the fake. You're choosing the fake. That's like NPC. You're like, hey, if it feels good, I don't know. It's just
Hmm.
fake.
I just try to be realistic, not defeatist, but realistic about what we're headed into.
Right, but so I don't think it's going to get to that point by the time we're old, but like the future is going to be like that. I mean, you could maybe, experience some of the pod, like watching virtual reality and traveling to other countries, like, with good
Hmm.
videos or whatever. Like that's great, but like getting into an immersive pod and leading your life and like experiencing everything just sitting in a chair and just like not exercising or
But you don't
moving.
know you're sitting in a chair. That's the thing. You think you're walking.
Well, so
You're
you're
doing.
saying they're just going to put everybody in there from the beginning. Like you're not going to choose to go in there. You're saying everyone's going to be forced to go in there.
I don't know, be forced, but willing. I think more willing. I think they'll enjoy
Well,
it.
then
It
those are
gets to
the
the point where,
NPC idiots. I think those are NPC idiots that are doing that. I think that's like it's
but
really
like they don't know
it's
they're in
dumb
a
and
chair.
lazy.
But they don't
But
know
you're
they're in a
saying,
chair.
but aren't you saying you're going to volunteer to do it?
I think we're looking at it the wrong way. It's just a natural progression, I guess is how I would look at it. The technology will get so advanced that we'll just get accustomed to it, just like we're accustomed to our cell phones or televisions or whatever.
Well,
All our pleasures that we take into account. I mean, do you not watch television? Do you not use a cell phone? Are you,
I don't watch television, but I mean I have logged hours watching movies, and I have watched some
sure.
TV shows at my sister's when I lived with her. But it's like, yeah, the telephone is a good tool, but like you don't need to. We don't need to be really like. I think I've heard you guys talk about. Like, we don't need to be jumping around to different planets. Like we should just be like, experiencing and enjoying the life that we have here on this beautiful planet. If we just took care of the air and like each other, it would be heaven on earth. But
I
like
agree with that.
I'm
I
not
agree,
going
but
where
we
you're
don't
going.
control
I'm
that.
going.
We don't
There's a
control
lot of
that though.
people that are like that would definitely like reject all the things that you're talking about. I mean, there's like
They can
millions of
reject
people
everything
around
they
the
want to, but they're still going to build the data centers and they're going to add more
Yeah,
fossil
but it's
fuels
not
or
going to
more
go the
nuclear
way you're saying
plants.
it. There's no way. It's like a bad movie. It's like it's not going that way.
Yeah.
That's not reality. It's going
If
to
the
be like a,
powers that
it's going to be a dark movie for a while for people that want the drama and the bullshit and the poisons, but like that's not reality. I mean, it's a form. It's like a really bad it's like a bad version, like a bad video game or a bad movie. It's like, yeah, people like to watch scary, disgusting, horrible movies. I don't. So if you want to live that in your life for a while, that's fine. But thank God it's temporary, unless they stick
but
you in some kind of bottle or whatever and put your consciousness in there, like whatever.
I don't think they'll have the power to do that, but I mean, we could talk about, the fresh air and the wonderful life and everything like that, but we got plenty of pollution right now on this earth and ain't nobody stopping it. Nobody's stopping it.
Once I'm healed, I'm gonna be taking a lot of action to stop a lot of things because this bullshit has got to end, and it's all about to end. So like, it's a good time for us to get involved. Like maybe not just yet. When things start to crumble, that's when you go in and you start actually bringing, because the whole thing is being crumbled down for us. Like we're not going to be the ones taking down the deep state and the banking cartels. That stuff is all coming down by just the nature of like maybe the Kali Yuga or like whatever it is, universal forces, whatever. Um, but after that happens, that's when it's time to rebuild. And but I think there is this route where people can go into their little computer rabbit holes and live in some virtual reality if they want, just like they go off and like on their computers and masturbate all day. It's like whatever, you can do that, but like I'd rather live life. You know what I mean? There's a lot more going on. Consciousness and like expanding. Learning. I mean, there's just so much more than that.
But what if life is filled with pollution and data centers and most people are in the pod? Would it still be living life the way you see it?
It's I don't think it's going. I don't think it's going there. I mean, maybe you. I mean, I think people, we can get into certain tunnels, like whether you guys can call me a zombie or think I'm like smoking the whatever or like drinking Kool-Aid. But the thing is, there's lots of different realities out there, and if you just are kind of like, I guess, just accepting like that future fate. I mean, no, that's like conditioning. Somebody's telling you those stories, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Well, my future fate is only temporary. We're only here for a short time, and then we're out of it. We're out of this whole mess. So if I did go in the pod, it wouldn't be forever. It would just be till the end of my existence here on Earth. This is just a temporary trip that we're taking right here on this Earth.
Yeah, it's true.
What if there's a way to trap, like she was saying, to trap you in the pod? Like we think, they figure out how to trap the consciousness or something where, I hear what you're saying. And, it makes, I understand what Mr. X is saying. It's like, okay, you see how everybody is on social media. So we're on here. You got some people that have Instagram, Facebook, TikToks, YouTube as well, X, right? So everybody in society is most likely on social media. So we still have a older population and some people that aren't on social media that still watch television and stuff like that. But now let's just say how we see everybody here and we're in social media. Now we're not maybe as deep into it as some other people with all, they'll say they're on every app, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube, and maybe other ones too, Twitch, Kick, and stuff like that. But or Rumble too. Now let's take all of those and replace it with the pod. So we start to say, wow, where'd everybody go from social media?
Mm-hmm.
They're all on the pod. So the way everybody's on social media right now, and whoever's not on here is kind of still, it's a minority, but they do exist. What if it gets like that with the pod? So now the pressure of just communication gets to where it's like, oh, the only way to communicate with this person is to get in the pod. And when you get in the pod, like Mr. X is saying, all of a sudden there's no pollution, there's no problems. We know it's fake, but then you start to lose the sense of reality of thinking it's fake. Kind of like with social media. We know this isn't reality. We know that there's more to life than this. The communication is great because it allows us to communicate with each other from such great distances with ease. So, yeah, Gollum says it was forever in the Matrix. Yeah, and once you get in there, I think the thing that we're missing is it could be keeping you in there.
Yeah.
It could even be where people go in there and they say, "Yeah, man, it's great," and then the next time they go on, it's basically a coffin.
Yeah.
So,
Right, it's just trapping your consciousness. Like they really just want you to keep scrolling over and over and over and just like making sure you're not doing anything else, but like trapping you with where they want you to be. So like in a form,
yeah.
that's what it is. So what's the deal with the pod? It's like, are people going to be working, or is it just going to be like, here, let's put this needle in you, and you're going to be in a coma and get to like look at all these like fantasy dreams for the rest of your life till you die? Like, well, how is it going to work?
Or I was thinking it might work where, let's just say you could go into a virtual world like a video game, or you're in the pod, so you're in a, for lack of a better word, like a hospital bed, but it's enclosed and you're getting fed air. So you got air to live. You have an intravenous hooked up to you. So now you're not eating anymore. You're getting fed directly through the intravenous.
And why
And
would they do that? Why would they even keep us alive in there?
okay, now my theory is if they could figure out a way to get something from us, like in the Matrix, they would be getting power.
All
They're
right.
getting 12 volts, like enough to put a light bulb, a battery. So
Right.
if they probably have it figured out to where, say they get more than just the battery, say they start milking us for stuff that our body can produce. So say they have the intravenous hooked up to us to where they're feeding us through that, and we have pipes hooked up so where if we go to the bathroom, it's automatically pulled from us too. So now you have a loop where you're feeding the organism, and the organism is being cleansed, by whatever the waste comes out. So now you got that taken care of. Now you have another extraction tube that maybe extracts adrenochrome, some type of thing the body then can create. So now you're producing that plus the heat from your body, because heat definitely can be turned into a form of energy. So now that's how you're paying for this, like the Matrix. They were
And they
paying
could start torturing us to get adrenochrome or get that electricity and energy
exactly
off
to
of
get it
us. That would
more.
be horrible. They'd be like,
Yes.
here's your pot. Now it's like we're going to make it a nightmare.
Yeah, and now it's a torture chamber, which
Right.
people will willingly walk into the torture chamber if at first it's not a torture chamber.
Right.
So, and
That's
that's a
true.
way, just in theory, I'm thinking, because people, you got some people that might go into it knowing it's a torture chamber. Look at what some people do.
Mhm.
They'll cut themselves, they'll slowly torture themselves. I mean, just somebody smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol is a slow form of torture with the reward of getting high. So you get the nicotine high, you get the alcohol high, and you're
And it's
killing.
all adrenaline related. Just I mean, it's all different. There's different blends of it, but it's all
Yeah.
adrenaline. We're all addicted
Yeah.
to
Now,
adrenaline.
and this is looking at it from a very science fiction type of way. What if there's parasites and microbes that are in us already, that when we smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol or take drugs, those parasites know it's killing us, but they're harvesting the adrenochrome while they live in us.
Mhm.
They have a way, just the way the wasp has a liquid that can control a caterpillar that it stings and implant its larvae to eat the parts of the caterpillar that are not vital. So, and this is where when I explain things with evolution, if people know math, and I say how if you look at the math on how many combinations it would take, just common sense, you wouldn't need to look at the math, but you would say, okay, how does a wasp, how does a liquid form in a way where it can be injected from the wasp into the caterpillar pillar to control its mind? Then, how does the wasp larvae know to not eat the vital organs that the caterpillar needs to survive, but eat the other parts of the caterpillar it can? Then, when the larvae hatch from the caterpillar spins a cocoon web around them and protects them. So now it's a form of mind control, whatever the wasp injected into them. There's no way that is going to evolve in short, or long burst over millions of years. When you look at the like just the amino acids for spider webs, I think it's like 30 or 40 or something like that. And that's just for the silk that is made for the stickiness. Then you got different types of silk, the silk that the spider can walk on, because the spider itself will get caught in the sticky silk. So it knows which silk not to step on and which to step on. Michael Kreml posed that question very wisely. He said if he was on a show, he goes, how did the spider learn how to spin its web? How did the human eye form? It's questions that evolutionists will just say, well, over time. Now, if you just look at 20 something amino acids forming, that's 10 to the 20th. That's a trillion, more than a trillion. It's a ridiculous high number. It's 100 quintillion. And people that don't really take into account, or they can't comprehend the depth of those numbers, they they dismiss it. They're like, well, I don't understand it, so it's fake, and it's like these people are just, and then they'll say, we evolved and things evolved. It's so zombie. It's like the guy today when he said 100,000 years, and I'm like, I said, look, man, you can't date something, a million years old. And he goes, well, humans weren't around that long. Now, if he knew about evolution, the theory, even though it's not scientific, what they say is that the predecessors even were around before that, say 6 million. The other parts, Cro-Magnon, what was the other one? Homo erectus, all made up fiction. It's a human skeleton. So if I find a human skeleton that looks a little different, because not all human skeletons today look the same. So we see it. We see people that are 5 foot tall and 6 foot tall and even 7 foot tall. So evolution will look at those three skeletons and say, you see, it's evolving into taller skeletons. We know that not to be true right now, because you can put men that are different heights and you can see that they're not evolving into one another. But this is the lie evolution uses when they find skeletons. And just using that basic that basic logic, we can easily see through the religion of evolution. It just, and they bring quantum science in when they can't explain stuff. They run away to the quantum. Oh, it's this, it's that, and you never get a straight answer. It's not science. And that's the thing, that people think it is science. That's the thing. To say, well, do you know how science works? And they'll make a lie. They'll say, no, 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 science doesn't work the way you're saying it works. It works the way I'm saying it works. And it's like, science works the way it works. It has to be repeatable, observable, and measurable. Empirical science. And you can do this with anything technical. You can do it with even things we can demonstrate. Breathe, holding your breath underwater. So anybody can say, okay, you can't breathe water. If you try it, you can test that. It won't work. You'll drown. Your lungs will fill with water and you'll die unless your lungs are pumped. So you start to say, okay, we can't breathe water. That's a fact. That's an empirical fact. It can be tested, observed, and measured. That's how science works. A plane flies, a jet plane. Okay, how do we know this? It can be tested, observed, and measured. And when you look at evolution, that's when you get into the, you know, and it just yeah, we're not even sure what we are. Good to see you, GP. Yeah.
And I wanted to comment on what Concha said earlier. I mean, I love her input. It's great input. But the thing about, she said she wouldn't go in the pod and that she'd be free. Well, one thing that's not conspiracy theory is surveillance. We're going into a surveillance state. So I don't think freedom is really an option, because the minute if you don't want to go into the pod, you're going to be surveilled up and down. Every step you take, every breath you take, everything you watch, everything you do is going to be tracked and monitored, and you're going to have a social credit score. And if you get out of line, you're going to be penalized for it.
Right.
So
Well,
I don't know,
we're being surveilled right now, and we have been even for a long
but we're going to
time.
be on a much higher
Right.
level
Well,
coming soon.
in the technocratic dystopia, but I think there's going to be this other version that is actually. I know it sounds crazy,
Hmm.
like some kind of cult thing, but I do. I wish Asvern was here. Like, what does he say happens after the Kali Yuga? It goes to the next. It's like a golden. I think it's like 1,000 years of. It's like the golden years, like 1,000 years of light. Like once it all crumbles, like in some level, everything that's been built, all these like evil people that have been running us like slaves or whatever, their time is up right now in a certain timeline. Like I
Well, I
really
agree with that. I agree
I
with
believe
that
that's
because
happening.
after this
Yeah, but
physical
like,
realm.
you think the technocratic dystopia and the surveillance is going to happen after that crumbles? No, because that's all part of it. The AI, like, I mean, AI is going to continue to get developed, but I think it is in this other, like, kind of like choose your own adventure. Like, you want to go to that timeline because, I mean, there's spiritual teachers that say there's two timelines. It's going to be, it's like, and then eventually it all goes into one. And they say like in 1,000 years, that's when the AI beast is going to fight the like, you know, a god source, our creator, or just like, you know, the whatever, like the infinite good source or whatever. Allegedly that's what's going to happen in 1,000 years. You know, and you know, medical media doesn't talk that much about spiritual stuff outside of that. Like I told you, you wrote a spiritual book, and I watched Frailty, by the way. I'll talk to you about that later. But you know, but Anthony, when we kill demons, we're not killing people. We actually kill the demons that are like messing with people, like from the fourth dimension,
Hmm.
destroying them or whatever. But yeah, like it's like I when the shit comes down, like all the banks are gonna crumble soon. Like I don't know how it's all gonna happen, but you know, maybe I'm just being hopeful. But I do think that there is a path where it's like, you know, I don't think it's just like people living in different parts of the world. Some choosing to be in the 10-minute cities with the dystopia, and other people living free, like, you know, growing food and, you know, celebrating life. I think they might be two different timelines. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like something like that's going to happen. So, what do you think is going to happen, Mr. X? You're saying big changes are coming, but it's still going to be the dystopia?
Well, I think it's going to be, I'm going based on the evidence. That's all I'm doing. I'm going based on what I see right now. And the building of data centers are going to take up vast amounts of land, more than I know. Statistics, they said it's going to double by next year, so I can't even imagine what it'll be like in 10 years. I do think these 15-minute cities, or whatever they call them, 15-mile cities, they're going to be a real thing. Because I was thinking that too, that people are going to get packed into cities, the remaining population, and I think that's where we're headed, and people are just going to be in this virtual world. Now, will it be? I can't give you a timeline, but it seems like things are happening at a rapid pace. I could definitely see a universal income, getting rid of the dollar currency and just having a digital currency that is based on credit systems. And
Well, what if in the next year, maximum 2 years, like Fauci goes down and all sorts of people are going to get like hung for treason? All the bankers, all the cartels, all the people that have like
by
basically
who? But by who?
by it, it's called I mean, because I said I've only kind of got back in, got my toes and my feet
Hmm.
back in the in the pond or whatever of like the Q movement, just checking it out. I think they're saying 109 countries. There's like, you know, good. There's like good people, like just like there's good cops, bad cops. There's like the good cops, like in, you know, in intelligence agencies that didn't want to join in on the reindeer games of evil, so they kind of like conspired in their own ways and worked with other good people in other countries, and allegedly it's being taken down. And but they're getting help from certain allegedly good extraterrestrials. I know it's hard to believe, like extraterrestrials aren't here to save us, but there's certain things, there's certain lines that have been crossed that were never supposed to
Hmm.
be crossed, and they supposedly help out with nuclear, you know, nuclear threats and stuff. But you know, like I said, I don't know, but I feel it. I mean, I saw someone shapeshift in front of me, but I had a microdose of mushrooms or whatever. But I saw a guy from a very rich, powerful family literally morph, you know, into a dark, you know, matte skin like reptile with like a mohawk bone on his head, and he's from a very
Hmm.
powerful family, you know, from LA and New York. And you know, it's like I do feel like there are, you know, this group of people, and I think that their time of ruling over us is ending. So
So you think
you
the
know,
people who rule over us, there's a portion of it that's good that will fight the bad people who
well,
rule over us?
they're not ruling over us. They're in this, like, maybe they're in a military like class where they've had a little bit more privilege, but they feel like they take it into their responsibility that like they don't want to have people living like animals, like they're like we're factory farm animal slaves for them. Like they don't feel that way. You know what I mean? They actually are like, no, this is evil, insane. And because you know that movie They Live, it's kind of like that. The people, the politicians that have been running stuff have been agreed to work and make all that money because they're working with the extraterrestrials, those that have gotten the high tech, all the high tech computers, phones, all that stuff. That's not invented by humans. That was given to us. They like they supposedly exchanged human beings, like abduction, to some of these extraterrestrials and exchanged it for all this technology. It's like, I mean, people right now, it would be hard for humans to like put together a radio or a TV or a telephone. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's some scientific minds that could do it, but for the most part, humans, that a lot of technology was just, given to us and traded. But so, I'm not, I have a good feeling about what's coming ahead because, like, the dreams, like I said, I can't put aside the dreams that I had like almost a year ago of that Moloch statue literally falling off this stage and cracking open. I'm like, that's a big sign that the evil is ending. And and actually that movie Frailty, I just have to say, like, when he was like writing down the names of the demons that he had to kill, I was like, when I first started paying attention to Q in 2017 or whatever, when it first started, I remember I had this dream, and it was like I was watching a movie. It was like kind of like that movie War Games, like the 70s computers, where it was like there was like this old computer that I'd never used, but it was like showing up in front of me, and it was like there was this arrow. It's like I've never seen a computer like this, but it was like going down this list of names, and it stopped on Joe Paterno's name and said Joe Paterno's son, and the arrow was like pointing at it. And I woke up from the dream, and I'm like, who's Joe Paterno? I was like, who is that? So I wrote it down, but it turns out it's like that guy that was like helping
He was
that
a Penn State football coach.
Penn State.
He was a Penn State football coach. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, and he also worked with Bush. Like he's probably a total pedophile because he actually, I looked into him. He was like helping Bush Senior. He was on his political committee to help him, like when he was when he was vice president for Reagan.
The people on Epstein Island, they run the world. Right. Whether we like it or not, that's reality.
Files they're partially out, but the thing is, that whole thing is not over. Like that's the stuff that's going to come out, and all the people that are implicated and all the people that's names were redacted, they're all about to go down. Like there's going to be, I mean, it sounds like you're watching one movie with the dystopia coming up with the data centers, but I'm watching a movie where like the superheroes are, and they're not any particular person. You know what I mean?
I just see the superheroes in Hollywood in the movies. I don't see it in real life.
Well, because it's behind the scenes and you're not paying attention to that movie. But the thing is, they actually call it a movie. They're like, because they're actually saying that they have this like Project Looking Glass where they can go into the future and go into the past. And there's actually some of these people that are doing this are actually coming from the future to come back here to make sure that the Earth that there is like steered in this better direction. Like, and I don't know, like I would love to hear at one point Azrin's take on like. I think this is the end of the Kali Yuga, and I would love to know what he thinks is coming. You know what I mean? Because, it's just it's a thing. But I mean, just like my dreams, it's like I feel like there's something really positive that's coming. It's not all doom and gloom.
So it's based on your own feelings, your own dreams that you feel like this is going to be.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, but it's
like, well, I'm just looking at the reality of the world we live in currently. That's all I'm looking at.
Right, but
and it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
They're like,
they
seem to like have something to do with like the future. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of my dreams, like sometimes are 20, 30 years before, but then it means something really big later. But like, I mean, there's no reason what I would have had. I wasn't paying attention to the news. I wasn't paying attention to Q. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. But I got this dream about this statue that I didn't even know what it was. But it turns out to be like the god that they sacrifice children to. And then within the year, the Epstein files comes out, part of it, and it's not even over yet. So the fact that Fauci is going to go down, all these people are going to go down. So in the next year, if you see all that happening, this stuff may go down, and we may lose like power, or we may lose food distribution for a little while, but it's not permanent. They're just doing like a reset, but not in a reset in a bad way where like they're going to kill everyone on the surface and go into bunkers. It's actually they're going to demolish the banking cartels and all these evil people that were working with the reptiles, keeping control over us, and then we get to start anew. It's not like everything. There's some people that believe that's like, oh, everybody's going to get, everyone's going to be so rich and this and that. I mean, abundance. Where if we don't have those money systems, those money changing systems, yeah, there's a lot more real abundance in the world. Like that whole scarcity.
We'll live like tribal people is what we'll live like without that system.
What about tribal people?
Those are the only people that live off the monetary system. They don't depend on the if the
Right, but
dollar
we
crashed
could, we
tomorrow.
could. Michael Tellinger, that we were talking about earlier, he's got this whole system of Ubuntu where it's all about exchanging. You know what I mean? I mean, they did like a kind of a
What are we going to
PDF.
exchange exactly? What are we going to
Well, you
exchange?
grow food, you offer something, you give a service. I mean,
Yeah,
we're all supposed
we'll be
to
like
kind of
tribal people.
contribute.
I
Excuse
mean, it
me?
won't be like modern people. We won't be like what we're living now. We'll be like tribal.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
what
go
we.
back. We'll go back a little bit more to our roots. Yeah, all this like materialism and garbage and pollution and like all this stuff that is sold to us. Like, yeah, it's all nonsense.
I don't know. I don't see people wanting to go back. I think they'd rather be
I
in a
know.
pod playing video games. To be honest with you, that's what I see.
Right, but those are a lot of like the zombies and the NPCs that are basically like they just want to eat and watch TV. It's like, yeah, it's like they're barely alive to begin with. You know, and I mean, I don't mean to be judgmental, but like it's kind of that's the kind of the zombification, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah,
well, I
I
agree.
understand what you mean. I understand what you mean totally.
Yeah, I'm just trying to predict where we're headed in the future and trying to be. I always try to be realistic about it. Not necessarily I want it to be this way. It's just based on what I see. It's not that I don't bring in my wants into the picture at all. They're relevant to the what the future is going to be.
Right. From what I'm paying attention to, not just my dreams, I'm paying attention and I'm seeing something that's possible. I'm not saying it's true, but I'm hoping it is you know, at some
Mhm.
level. But everything that they're showing us is actually not true because it's like it's kind of a psyop. Whatever they're kind of telling the people that are following Q, it's not exactly how it's going. And I think they're actually doing things in advance and telling us about it later, but like they're actually already doing all of these things and then we don't hear about it till later after it's done because if all the changes happened right on the world stage right as they were happening, a lot of big like big really drama could happen. Like the evil people that rule over the world, if they're not taken down systematically, quietly behind the scenes, then
Mhm.
big really horrible things like they could unleash like a lot of horror and terror on the planet. But if they get taken down, one by one, supposedly they're using like clones and replacements. They're actually taking out people and putting in like kind of actors or people with masks and like and acting,
Sure.
and not even letting people know that all these people are dead already, allegedly. I mean, like Netanyahu, they said like, I remember like right there was like this speculation that he died, and then like I did see videos of his wife on Skype or like some in a Zoom or whatever, and she looked like a mess. She was like drugged out and like no makeup and just like looked like she'd been crying for days, and like nobody had seen him for 2 weeks, and his plane was like grounded in Germany for 2 weeks. And then also they said his son was like one of the kind of people that posts on social media like constantly, like every day, many times, all the time, for 7 days after that time, like because the Iranians, I think, were bragging about how they bombed a shelter where he was at, and there was like a little bit of a video or whatever, but they were like, no, he's still alive. But then like the son, he wasn't on social media for a week, and they practice Shiva or whatever in the Jewish religion. So I don't know. I mean, but they're acting like he's still alive, but a lot of people think he's dead. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
don't know, and a lot of
Conscious,
people
do you
think
believe in
that
another
a lot of
life
people think.
after this?
Excuse me.
Do you believe in another life after this, or do you
Oh
think
yeah, we're eternal. I mean, yeah.
okay, then maybe this life isn't that important? If there's other lives after this,
Well,
maybe
the
this
time
isn't
is
the be
always
all end
now.
all.
The time is always now. So like what are we doing and what are we what do we want to create? Like I don't know. So I mean, we just have to wait and see a little bit. I think in the next year or two, big things will
Hmm.
happen, and then we can assess then what we
Oh,
want to
I
do
agree
and
with
what
that. I agree with that
and what.
100%.
But
Big things to happen.
if we see like the old systems crumbling, it's a great opportunity to start building something that actually works. Of and by the people, not necessarily government. I think they're like after it's all over, like they're not even planning on like having big government at all. It's just going to be like basic services, like things that are like, yeah, you want to pitch in and pay a little bit of taxes to make sure like these roads or but maybe like public private road whatever businesses like it's not going to be the way it was allegedly. We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but it's like it's not just I'm observing. It's just a lot of people saying that a lot of these things are happening, but I don't necessarily believe it until big things happen on But the fact that that what's his name, that guy, Mitch McConnell, like I heard he was dead a while ago, and that his Chinese wife like left the day he got in a coma and went to China, and she's like a Chinese spy working for the CCP or whatever. Now that's on the news cycle like 3 or 4 weeks later.
Mhm.
I mean, did they say he officially died? Mitch
That's my
McConnell?
understanding. That's my
Yes. So
understanding. He's
right.
dead.
So like
Yeah.
I mean, so the people that pay attention to the Q movement, like they knew it like 3 weeks ago, but like the mainstream news isn't going to report on it. They're not going to report on everything, but at some point, it's all going to come out. Like Obama's going to get like, he's going to get like I think hung for treason because he was supposedly like, you know, selling us out to like all those terrorists, the Hamas and like all the different ones like crazy stuff like that he was like created by the CIA and all sorts of stuff is allegedly coming out, but we'll find out. We'll find out if it's true. Oh yeah, the Las Vegas. So are we in a simulation, MD?
No. I think it was IAM, and IAM. I put the because it was in the This is the PayPal link that we got, and this is the Cash App. We got them in the description too. But IAM had asked, I think it was here. Yeah, have you noticed how a computer motherboard resembles a miniature city with chips and circuit boards? So the one on the left is the computer motherboard. The one on the
Nice.
right is a guy, Vincent. He took a picture of LA from a distance that makes it look like a miniature lit up computer.
Las
So,
Vegas.
yeah, because if you look in the middle of the picture on the left of Las Vegas, that building is recognizable. It looks like a triangle, kind of like a trident or something.
The MGM.
Is that the MGM? Yeah.
Or
I
the
So
think
Luxor? Is it the Luxor?
No,
Triangle?
it's
I was Las
MGM.
Vegas when I was a kid in the 80s. I don't remember, but
Luxor is a pyramid.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
that's
fair, yeah.
yeah. So these buildings, to answer his question, it's like this is the newest one that I have put, but yeah, it just to
that's
show
always
you, like,
fascinating.
yeah,
It's
it's
fascinating
like,
to see those chips in the computers. It totally looks like cities.
yeah, and that's just one pitch. There's many pictures. There's so many anomalies that we saw with the cowboy boot. The foot is fossilized and part of what looks like to be the pant leg on the underneath the bottom of the calf bone. It's just amazing, and this shows you that things can happen at different rates. The evolution thing is definitely looking more and more like a lie, and yeah. GP, man, it's like just waiting for the comic to hit the earth. You had a good run. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Yeah, barter economy. The thing is that we would have to have a way to protect it, because that's what the problem is today. The armies and stuff, they go in.
Surveillance too. How are you going to protect it under surveillance? They'll watch everything you're doing, and you're not going to get away with anything.
Yeah. And also it's assuming that we're in charge. Like Conscious is saying, we do deals, we get the technology. What if they're the ones administering the technology with humans that might not necessarily be humans, they just look like them.
That's right.
And they're the ones that control us, administering this technology to us. And we have the capability to learn, if we're intelligent enough, on how to put things together, like you were saying, make a telephone, stuff like that, but definitely not the majority.
Wait, you're
right.
saying that extraterrestrials look like humans?
A possibility, or not only that, maybe it's something that can control us, but we don't notice it's there. Kind of like how the caterpillar is in a state of mind control through the injection from the wasp. How the parasites can control the mind of the ant, make it clip on to a certain blade of grass until the cow eats it, and then it goes back into the liver until it repeats the cycle back in the cow dung. The ant crawls over, it gets infected. There is so much stuff in nature that we can see. Why wouldn't it happen in the human colony? But also, I think the ego, it's really like when we say, okay, they're doing deals, we already know that power only concedes to power. So why would they do that? Out of the goodness of their heart, out of, who knows if they have a heart? We don't even know what we're dealing with. So, and it's just speculation, but
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but some of the people that are in charge, like the politicians, I mean, they could be raised on farms, like Jeffrey Epstein's like doing baby farms. They
Or
could be having
clones
baby
or
farms
something.
for a
Yeah.
long time. What?
They could be like clones.
Yeah, like clones, like and then they get mind controlled and like hypnotized, and they're just
Yep.
basically like
Parasite.
NPCs, like
Yeah.
just and they could be partially could have chips in their head, partially AI, like whatever. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So there's so much to consider, but the goods, the scenario of saying, okay, well, they're helping us. I could definitely understand that. Yeah, you got it, Iron Man. I appreciate everything, bro. He says, thanks for the picture link. Give me a few days. Yeah, man, I appreciate, man, all the support. Yeah, I'm gonna I might just have the basic StreamYard for a few days until I'm back up a little better financially and just but yeah, the digital paradise exorcism. He makes a good point. Just need a host body, and we see this in nature. That's the creepy. I mean, we know we have parasites. That's another creepy thing. We just have parasites, that eat food. They say, and this was a really weird fact. They say up to a third of what we defecate in the toilet is not our own. It's parasite waste.
Wow.
So when we go to the bathroom, we're actually releasing our waste plus the parasite rate waste. That's insane to think about.
Who says that?
You can look it up. I'll look it up right now because I was looking up the carbon dating thing with the
Right.
equilibrium, and yeah, I was right about that. These guys don't know what. It's ridiculous when the way they date this. But let me see.
I mean, Medical Medium like points out that like parasites are actually a different category than pathogens. Like pathogens are like viruses, and I mean, I guess they all kind of fall into, but parasites are actually like bugs and things that actually, it's like a fight for death. Either you die or they die. Like pathogens are like viruses and bacteria and stuff that can like live in your body, and you kind of, but actually candida is actually like something that's there to kind of, it's a natural thing that's there. It's like it's eating sugar because it's trying to protect you from these viruses and the bad bugs that want to eat it. So it's like they always say like, oh, it's candida and that's why we shouldn't have sugar, but that's actually not the truth of it. But parasites actually kill you. He's like the bug that you get like when you go down to another country.
yeah,
and you get
little by little.
What'd you say?
Some of them, little by little, some of them kill you. See, now AI is trying to give me a different one. And doctors, they say they're not supposed to tell you about parasites because they're finding out that it's a possibility that cancer and a lot of sicknesses could be actually parasites.
Well,
So
it's pathogens. I mean, they use the word parasites all the time, but it's really like viruses and that's what you mean by parasites.
Yeah, they're trying to say 1%, but I remember hearing more than that. They're saying, but that's in a healthy human. So they're saying in a healthy human, that.
Because I don't think that's true. I mean, just as far as like what I've been experiencing, cleansing my body, like I kill off a lot. Like we all have pathogens in our bodies, but some people, like women, tend to get sicker earlier because he points out that women have their cycle for 35 years. Like I have 3 to 5 to 8 days a month. So for 35 years, they're giving 80% of their immune system to their reproductive cycle to cleanse out their system. So men never lose that immunity, for all those, they know this time, 35 years, you never lose your immunity. So your liver is like cleaner and stronger. But like women who give up their immunity, like for that time, their liver has to like filter out all this stuff that's going on. So women's livers are a lot more filled up than guys. But yeah, like viruses, when you kill them off, like they don't, their waste matter is microscopic like they are, but it does cause a lot of problems. Like people get acne, people get they get eczema and psoriasis. They get all sorts of like pain in their body. Those are neurotoxins that like inflame nerves all over your body, and people are in a lot of pain. Fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, all that stuff. But I'm just saying, like the waste matter, like that's not true. I don't think that's true.
It's not totally from what they're saying here. I have to look a little deeper into it, but yeah, you're right. It's like in a healthy human, it's saying it's 0. In others, I said, what about infected humans? They're saying about 1%. I gotta look up because I heard that like many years ago. It could be false, but it's like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think I heard you say it on a different stream, but I
well,
disagree
you
with
know
that.
what?
Yeah, I think you
I,
said a large
I
amount of stuff was that.
yeah, I could look up how much food uh do parasites, like how would I word this? Scribe is always better at wording these things for AI. How much food do we eat that parasites eat? So how do I word that? How much all right, how much of our food of our how much of the food we eat do parasites consume? All right, consume. Not the best with the computer.
Because the worms and stuff that they find in people's intestines, a lot of times people
Mhm.
can live their whole lives with those and they'll not take them down. But the pathogens are microscopic and
Yeah, yeah, some of them are, yeah. Some are,
I
but
mean,
when you look at people that have 25-foot tapeworms and stuff like
yeah,
that,
well
right?
that's different, right? Those are
Yeah.
different, and
So
they don't
that's
even
what I'm,
necessarily
yeah.
kill you. Those don't even necessarily kill you.
Yeah, they can, a beef tapeworm can live with you up to like they say like 25 years.
Right, but
In
pathogens like Epstein-Barr and shingles, those mixed with chemical poisons will
Mhm.
cause cancer and like tumors and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But the worms and the stuff in your intestines aren't going to kill you really. But the parasites that
in
you get when you go to like India or Mexico because of a certain food, whatever, that stuff can kill you if you don't
Uh-huh.
get it out. And aloe vera is really good for killing parasites in your intestines. A lot of people have to get
MD.
their appendixes
Hmm.
removed because of food poisoning like that.
Yeah, Azrael. Yeah.
Yeah, it's risky to eat meat nowadays, right? Like the way it's polluted, and it. I've heard that too much consumption of red meat, it causes bowel cancer in the long run, and it's not safe for the body actually. Like if they do it on a regular basis, so it's very risky eating meat nowadays. And the way they would have grown these animals on the farm, feeding them with antibiotics and then feeding them unhealthy food, we consuming that, it doesn't make sense anymore to eat meat. Very
Wow.
risky.
It's
Wow.
very difficult to digest, especially if you don't have
Yeah,
strong hydrochloric acid in your body. And your liver,
yeah,
if your liver's weak, you don't have strong bile production either.
correct. And
And
the older you grow, bowel movements in older people are slower than younger people. So what happens is that when they consume meat, it will just sit in their bowl for a long time. It shouldn't be like that. Food shouldn't sit in the bowl for a very long time. It should get absorbed quickly. If it does, it lead to problems.
Hmm.
yeah, that's why everybody has those big guts. They call them beer
Yeah,
bellies or wheat bellies,
yeah,
but it's all rotting fats and proteins that aren't fully digested, and they just sit in the gut. They kind
yeah,
of stay there until you die,
correct. That's
unless you
called
unless you
amma
know
in
how to clean it
Ayurveda.
out. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's called it's called amma in Ayurveda, or toxins that are produced by the residues of food in the body. And to cleanse that, you'll have to go through something called panchakarma. In panchakarma, they'll cleanse the entire body actually, but amma is the waste that is generated by these type of toxic food items that you consume.
Yeah, and
That
they sit
stays.
in the
Yeah,
intestines and they rot, and it's actually a
yeah,
lot of bad acids, and that's why people get like a lot of stomach issues and acid reflux and all these things because these acids from putrefied food in the gut, it actually causes teeth problems because like while you're sleeping it rises up to your mouth. I mean, even though you're not standing up, it moves up to the top, and it sits in your mouth, and yeah, it causes a lot of problems in the end, unfortunately. I think everybody should eat, like lower their
correct.
meat and fat consumption.
Yeah,
Azran, can you
you're
talk
right.
about the Kali Yuga? Are we at the end of the Kali Yuga cycle now?
I've heard of that. Like Kali Yuga got over somewhere in 1979, where in the Pralaya phase, which will last for 450 years, in which three-fourths of mankind will be wiped out actually, and then Satya Yuga will begin again. Now, what happened was that after the Pandavas left Hastinapur and renounced their kingdom, that time there was a lot of confusion when Krishna died. So in Brahma Loka, there's like Kali Yuga running, that's 4,32,000 years. So that's 432,000 years. So like what happened is that 432,000 years, people assume that we're actually still in the Kali Yuga phase. It's 432,000 years or 432,000 years. Then what happened is that actually like the new knowledge that was revived is that 1979 Kali Yuga ended. Within 50 years, there'll be a lot of bloodshed actually and a lot of loss of human life, and then Satya Yuga will begin again.
And
We're in the
Satya, is
Pralaya phase
Satya
right now.
Yuga is Satya Yuga the golden age? Like it's like a beautiful
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's what's
That'll last for
coming.
20,000 years. That'll last for 20,000 years. And there you'll be one with God. There'll be no technology, nothing actually.
No technology?
Yeah, no technology. Everything
so
will be like.
it all gets wiped out, and then we kind of
Yeah.
go back to the land and grow our own food and celebrate life.
No, we won't need to eat also. We can absorb it directly with the help of our mind. The life force present in the food will be able to absorb it with our mind. Satyuga, no one eats with their mouth, and no one uses a
you don't even
woman.
eat fruit?
No. You can eat fruit, but you use the mind to absorb the energy in the fruit.
Oh, okay.
You don't use your mouth. So and no one is born through a woman. Everything is asexual in nature, and reproduction is not done like the way beasts procreate. Everything is like in a state of harmony. People won't be killing each other. There'll be like one, actually humanity will function as one unit. There won't be any distinction between caste, color, or creed. So that everything will be in tune with the divine law of God. And then again, after 20,000 years, we'll slowly start chipping away. Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga back again. It's like cyclical actually.
Right.
As
How
long as
many
you're
cycles? How many cycles are there? There's like 5 or 6 or 12.
No, there are 70. See, 71 cycles. 4 cycles make one Chatur Yuga or Mahayuga. So one Mahayuga, 71 cycles of this Mahayuga make one Manavantra. For every Manavantra, you'll have an Indra and a lawgiver. And that way, 14 Manavantras make one Kalpa for Brahma. So one Kalpa actually is, which is like billions of years in our time, is just like half a day for Brahma, and another kalpa that comes is like another night for Brahma. So that makes one day. So Brahma will live for 1,000 kalpas, actually 1,000 kalpas or even more. He'll live for 100 celestial years and he'll die. Then Vishnu will live for another 100 celestial years and die, and so will Shiva, and so will Devi as well. It's just like a post in our religion. It's like the CEO of a joint stock company. He has a duration, right? Same thing. It's over here as well.
And so, well, how many are? I mean, that's I have to probably look at a graph or a map of that, but it's like as far as like Satya Yuga, Kali Yuga, how many yuga, like those smaller yugas, are there in a cycle until Kali Yuga comes around again? How many of those?
Satyuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapara Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. In Satyuga, people be like giants. They'll be very strong and fit physically. There'll be no disease, nothing. After when Treta Yuga begins, slowly disease and discord will slowly start coming. Dwapara Yuga, it'll again be even more bad than when compared to Treta Yuga. Kali Yuga, it'll be hopeless actually.
And isn't Krishna and those different gods, they were all different extraterrestrials, right? Krishna was like a blue extraterrestrial.
Yeah. He is an extraterrestrial, but he's from universe that's beyond space and time.
And what about Vishnu and all of them? Are those different?
Yeah, Vishnu is an outer versal god. Vishnu is an outer versal god, and just like you must have seen DC Comics Darkseid. Darkseid can't enter into the manifested universe because if he does so, it will crash. So Vishnu actually sends avatars, same way like the way Darkseid sends avatars into the universe. Like he's an outer versal god too. So to establish righteousness and order, Vishnu can send his incarnations or emanations into reality, and they'll cleanse the earth of impurities, and after the task is done, they'll go back and merge with him. He's an outer-versal god actually. Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, they're beyond space, time, and causation.
T-Raf, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Much appreciated, man. Thank you.
And wait, MD, you got my one donation I did a couple weeks ago, right?
What was it on YouTube?
I think it was PayPal.
PayPal. Let me ask Scribe. Yeah, to check it right now. How long? A week or 2 weeks?
It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't need I don't want thanks on the screen, but I just wanted to make sure you knew I sent it.
Yeah, no, I'll put it on the stream.
No, you don't need to. I just want to make sure you got it because, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, same here, MD. I just wanted to make sure you got it. But on my screen, actually, it came as YouTube. You've donated it actually, and that message came in the Gmail section. So I hope you got my donation, MD. The show needs more support.
Thank you, man. I didn't see it on YouTube or this yet, but hopefully it'll come through. I just wrote Scribe to check the other one, the PayPal. I said did Conscious give a PayPal a few weeks. So I'll put it up on this too. How much was it, Conscious?
Well, you don't have to put it up. I just want to make sure you got it. Yeah, I'll take a screenshot of mine and I'll email it to you or whatever.
Yeah, and I'll email it. Yeah, I'll make sure.
Find it. Yeah,
check that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't see nothing. He didn't tell me nothing from it. Well, he'd only been on the stream that one time, so maybe he didn't. But I just wrote him. Usually, if not, he'll let me know. Yeah, usually he's up late, like maybe 1, 2. House Atreides says the Sat Yuga is the perfect, harmonious first matrix that Agent Smith spoke about. Where humans gradually stopped tolerating, so the program was changed to the next Yuga.
Good point.
Wow, House Atreides, that's deep, man. That's deep. Yeah. Yeah. This. Wow.
So I'm not.
What I've read is. Yeah, everything I read is AI is already surpassing our intelligence level. So, I mean, we may not be smart enough to defeat AI. I mean,
remember,
so much more chance.
Well, that battle is going to happen in the future, the big battle, and yeah.
In the Terminator movie, they created the T-800 in 2026 in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just saying, who knows? I mean, it really makes you wonder because Soylent Green was set in the year 2022, even though the movie came out like in 1973. So, I mean, the movies, it makes you wonder about the timeline because the fifth dimension, if the fifth dimension allows you to manipulate time and go anywhere within the timeline, I guess within a certain amount of time, or maybe in all of time. But when we say all of time, there's no beginning, and no ending. I would see why would there be a beginning and ending, And even if there's a beginning, what is before the beginning? You know what I mean?
Well, that becomes the what religious people would call God, the creator.
Yeah, but I don't think that's. It doesn't explain it well enough. It's sort of like just saying, if somebody says, okay, well, what is God? Like, why wouldn't there be an infinite beginning of time and an infinite ending? Like it never ends, right? It kind of gets into the Hyperborean thing,
Well, he would be the eternal being, the Alpha and the Omega.
So
he always existed.
But the yugas could actually keep cycling, but they could be cycling and spiraling outward and bigger, kind of like what we were speaking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They may not repeat exactly the same. Like it could be this expansive in an infinite amount of time and space. You know what I mean? But also, I think it could turn out that Mr. X is right and I'm right, and like because if there's two timelines, as some spiritual teachers say. But if you had a choice, though, what would you choose? Would you guys choose to live in the third dimension, the technocratic dystopia, or would you rather be in the fifth, where things are like more futuristic and not necessarily like without any tech, but like they say like
fifth you could choose? I think T-Ref says, I appreciate your knowledge and everything you share. I would like to support you through PayPal because I heard YouTube takes a percentage of donations from the live video. Yeah, brother, man. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, YouTube takes like 30%. They're killing. I put the link here. Here's the links. It's also in the description. But this is the link for the PayPal and this is the link for the Cash App. So I appreciate that, T-Ref, man. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it, man. I I think that what you were saying, conscious, is that um it's like the fifth dimension would be you could choose whatever time, I guess, like if I could go through different time, I would I wouldn't mind, but then of course it would get boring after you go through all the timelines. House Atreides says the first Terminator film was partially inspired by one of the Dune backstories called the Butlerian Jihad. The main character, Sarah Butler, who led the human resistance to AI, was changed Sarah Connor. Wow. Yeah, I did hear something here with the original Dune. I mean, like also with the fifth dimension, like I would go back probably to, my lifetime, just to see saying 71, 72, stuff like that, being born, coming into remembering what I remembered as a kid. Uh, and the thing is I guess the fifth dimension is saying you can change it. But then again, it is theory. But, maybe imagine being able to look at it like a timeline in a video editing thing and say, okay, I want to go to 3000 BC. I want to go to 12,000 BC, in Egypt, and see if the pyramids were, before that or after, or India or China or the Americas here, see what was really happening. Because they do say that this continent had a lot of technology and ancient buildings, pyramids, the mummies from the Grand Canyon and stuff that they don't like to talk about. It makes you wonder. It really does.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does make you wonder when you think about it. Oh, Scribe's here. What's up, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Oh,
Hello, Scribe.
yeah, Conscious Rising said she donated a few weeks ago to PayPal. I don't know if you saw it or if it came through or not.
A few weeks ago? Okay, I can check.
Yeah, just to check. Because yeah, I canceled the StreamYard, so hopefully I'll just renew it because it's supposed to renew tomorrow or the next day. But I canceled it from the auto thing just until I get straight. But T-Ref said he's going to use PayPal to donate or Cash App, and I am too. I am said he'll use it in the future.
Yeah, I think I'll use PayPal also, actually,
Yeah.
instead of Cash App, PayPal.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's like that makes
And also, if I'm going to donate, it goes all to you instead of, the
yeah,
nonsense.
instead of like
Yeah.
YouTube, and I'll put it up in the chat and stuff so it can still.
Yeah,
be.
well, I'm here to keep the streams going and keep
Yeah.
supporting. That's my main issue,
Yeah, you're always, yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, definitely. Yeah, the whole timeline thing. It is fascinating because, I mean, when I look back and I think, it would be fun, but if I'm able to say you're able to live as long as you want, so you're going back through to the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, kind of like what GP Man is saying here. Yeah, I would love to see that again, and how much can I change it or live it? And eventually that question would come again. What else is there? So if I'm going through like Conscious Rising and saying the third dimensional timeline, what is say we're on channel 2, what's on channel 4 or channel 7 of the third dimension? So like a television station, like YouTube, somebody can see a stream, they can go to a different channel, a person has a YouTube channel, so different channels, it's on the same internet. So it's not that the other live stream went away, it's that you're watching a different live stream. They're both existing at the same time. And the amazing thing about the computer is we can open 2 browsers and see the 2 different channels at the same time. So it really gets deep when you think about that. With a television, you're only able to tune into one channel at the same time. When they had the picture-in-picture ability, I guess it was in the 90s, you could watch something on television and then the small screen, you could see what was on another channel.
Yeah.
So that's like saying, wow, so we can see two. Imagine seeing another channel in this third dimension. Maybe there's beings that have that capability.
Yeah, I think they said the fifth you can go to the third. You can go to any dimension lower than it. And I don't know if you can do all those things that you said. Like, I mean, I guess you could do, go to the past and the future or whatever. But the fifth dimension definitely has access to the lower dimensions. But when you're in third, you don't really have access to the higher ones. Until you eventually get there, because everybody gets to evolve there eventually. But I don't know what cycles exactly. Azrans were saying they're very long, but I heard every 26,000 years, you get a chance to kind of migrate over to other dimensions every 26,000. So this is like a time where, but things are definitely changing, because I've had a lot more psychic ability kind of come online, and like I've been like, I don't think it's from staring at the sun and doing the peripheral vision of looking at the sun, but I was seeing a lot of magenta colors like around me and like near my hands, which I'd never seen before. Just this like past week for like a week, and I hadn't done like the staring at the sun. So I don't know. I definitely think things are changing, and so I'm just keeping my mind open and my hopes up. You know what I mean?
I know one person who used to put a copper coin on his forehead and stare at the sun. So he was an American. So he told me of a person who did the same practice for a long time. It started reducing his appetite. Then he got so charged he doesn't need to eat food anymore.
Well, I don't necessarily. I mean, that might be true, but people that claim to be breatharians are looking at the sun only. Like, I mean, maybe, but
It's there in autobiography of a yogi. There was this woman. She was initiated into a kind of pranayama technique by this yogi. She would look at the sun, do some kind of breathing exercise, and chant a mantra. Then she'd be charged for the whole day, and she wouldn't need to eat or drink anything.
Wow. I read that book. I'm definitely a skeptic when it comes to a lot of things, but I mean, a lot of things that I know are possible. Like, I've experienced miracles, but yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, that was a long time ago that I read that book, but yeah, I believe it's possible for sure. I mean, but I don't know anyone personally who's done it, and I haven't got to witness that happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's possible for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and that's one to say, like when I was talking about staring at the sun before, if you actually look right next to the sun, like I usually do above it, below it, to the sides of it, like, like 2 or 3 suns away from actually just like looking directly at it. I mean, you can look directly at it when it's really late, but if you look at it from the side a little bit peripherally, when you're staring, like if you're looking next to the sun, but you're actually peripherally like looking at the sun with your peripheral vision, it's so trippy how the colors change, and like,
Yeah.
all sorts of crazy colors happen, and like, yeah, and it's like dancing around and moving around and turning black and like turning crazy colors, and it's really trippy and cool, and I've never been blinded by it at all. I mean, maybe a little bit, you see some like different colored spots in your eyes for like an hour or two later, but that's it.
No, sunlight, that Trataka, that's called Trataka actually. They stare at the sun from 6 to 7 in the morning, and then from 5 to 6 in the evening. When its rays are more mild, you should stare at it and wear a copper coin on the forehead, stick it actually on your forehead and stare at it. And then after some time, actually, like your body will get charged and you won't need to eat much for the whole day.
I'll have to try that maybe with the copper pipe. I don't really like
Copper
touching
coin.
copper and metal, but yeah, I mean, I get like when we touch copper and other metals, like I can smell it on my hands for a long time, and I don't really like that just because I'm trying to get heavy metals out of my body, but yeah, I bet copper is very conductive. So you put it on your forehead, like on your third eye,
Yeah.
like pointing it towards the sun, or like putting the
Yeah,
bar
yeah,
against
like
your head?
at least at 5 o'clock in the evening, when the sun rays are more mild, you stick the copper coin on your forehead, then stare at the sun for a long time, and then close your eyes at least after half an hour. Then you'll feel more charged up, and then you won't need to eat. An American taught me this. So, like, his name was Bob actually, and he had learned this from some other people. He was teaching us that thing, that sun yoga, and I learned that thing from him actually. But it
So you
does reduce
tried it,
the
Asteron? You tried
yeah,
it,
yeah, I tried it. It does reduce the appetite.
but you still ate. You still were hungry.
Yeah, but I didn't need to eat as much as I did before. Then I stopped doing it only. That's the problem. I became lethargic.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely probably energizes, but I feel like we need food. I mean, because we use a lot of calories and glucose and minerals just for our brain to work. I mean, it's just, but I guess if you're getting it directly from the sun, if you're really absorbing it, then I guess it could work.
Yeah, that's the first step to becoming a Vayu Ahari, or someone who lives on air alone.
Air and sunlight.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we got a new guy in the chat, David Divine Broadcaster. They have created fake trap dimension school and government obedience that keeps most people from realizing the potential true two Slim Jims a day. GP, man. Yeah, this I was looking into some of the stuff I wrote a while ago about like the possibility of, like, when they say the tree of knowledge, I wondered if it could be an interface. Like, I was speculating on the two trees, tree of life, tree of knowledge. The first grants are immortality in theory, likely access to maybe a regenerative nanotechnology or a cellular type of senescence, some type of mechanism. And the second is the knowledge trigger. So that's the one to know the right and wrong. And when I thought about this, I said, if you had a choice to eat from a tree that would make you live forever, or a tree that would let you know, which would you choose? And it would make more sense to choose the knowledge with a lifespan that is not going to be forever, because at least you know, instead of living forever without knowing. Because living forever without knowing might not be, the coolest thing. It might be kind of, the unexamined life. Why is it really worth living? So eating the fruit could have been a metaphor for downloading forbidden information somehow, maybe through eating, eating something that could trigger the knowledge, the organic interface, a living terminal embedded in a biodome wall. So yeah, I was just speculating on. I was looking at some of the other stuff. I was looking for the stuff I wrote about dimensions, but I don't know where I put it. I got it in a document, but if I find it, I'll let you guys know.
Is there a PO box that you and Scribe might have where people can mail stuff to you guys? Because I have this. I have a couple extra copies of this book called Life Changing Foods, and Medical Medium goes into the deep, information and downloads and like stuff, spiritual information, and also like what the specific fruits and vegetables do for our body and our systems, here while we're in this body. So is there a place where you guys can get mail or no?
Yeah, I used to have one, but it was a while ago. I didn't update it. It was a little expensive. I think it was like $100 for 3 months, and I never really used it. So yeah, I didn't update it. It was in the next town.
A PO box is way cheaper than that, isn't it?
Yeah, this guy has his own business. It wasn't with the postal service. Like, I guess he's like a post office, but only for PO boxes. And if you want to, like, mail stuff, you can go to him. And I guess he was competing or something. So if people that don't want to use the post office could use his service. I don't know if he's still there because a friend of mine he was the one that told me about him back when I was working on making the apps and stuff. But yeah, I don't have a physical PO box. Yeah, just the emails and stuff like that. I don't know if Scribe. You didn't see anything on the PayPal or the Cash App or anything. I'm just checking.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for what the amount was, so I can look it up that way.
I'm sending a receipt right now to your email. It was for
Okay, my
it was
email.
for
All right,
yeah. I'm gonna send it right now.
Okay, so I'll open that up. Yeah, I'm just looking for my file for the dimensions because I had something really deep about the fifth, and I remember writing about the sixth dimension. I just don't remember what document I put it in them. Man, this is crazy. I'm trying to find it, but because I had some stuff with how to do the
Well, I wanted to say something while you're doing that, like
Yeah.
so you don't have to do two things
Yeah,
at once.
yeah.
I want to just speak upon one thing real quick. What you guys were talking about earlier, and as I'm listening and observing again, our sense of sense of wonderment, I would say, is probably the biggest gift we ever had. Because when you separate that from the animal kingdom to where the animal only senses, okay, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I surviving? Can I sleep here? Can I have some peace? That's it. That's as far as it goes, as far as the sense of wonderment. Our sense of wonderment goes to the pinnacle of, I would say, in the godly realm, because it's too ridiculous and too insane the amount of, we're talking about dimensions and portals and the the etherical and the metaphysical and the physical and all these things. No one's going to be discussing that. When I say no one, I'm saying no being, animal or otherwise, unless you are part of that design, unless you are wondering more about it and you're intellectually aware that it even exists in the first place. Like when Hyperion was talking about the existence thing, it's like, well, to you, this thing could exist. What about to a dog or to an insect or something else? It has a different ideology of its own. Um, and each thing, like we said, something more basic can create infinity and all these things. And the sense of wonderment, I think, is a degree that shows how deep we can go, how powerful we are, really, in our core essence. Because beings would not be wondering these things unless they're of that level. And I think that's the most fascinating thing about humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're given that responsibility, entitlement, kind of, to say, look, you're able to destroy or heal. You can literally destroy, the environment. Given that power and responsibility, it goes way beyond, the animals just live within it naturally. The ecosystem's already programmed. It's already set. The bees do their thing. Everything's perfectly set. But we come along and just disrupt ecosystem. We're disruptors of nature, disruptors of almost every fabric you can think of, spiritually, physically. So what does that mean we are? When it comes down to it, if we have this type of power and entitlement and responsibility, that should be the degree that we measure ourselves, because that's very evident of what that is. And if it's that, then we know what we are. If we keep asking the question, nobody wants to go there, because the powers that be keep that under wraps, under suppression. They don't want you to know who you are. So that's the issue. And the ones that do know who they are and they finally find that out, hopefully younger, those guys are living their lives for real. I mean, and that could be in the tribe, ancient times, whatever. They get to live from their own way of being. Like the tribe, you're a hidden tribe living that way for thousands of years. Where are you getting your information from? Where do you get, the animals, what gods, where are you getting the information? The environment, the rain. They can do a rain dance and make it rain, all this kind of stuff. Where does all that come from?
Yeah.
What
If they were just
dimension?
animals, because we're just supposedly mammals and animals, right? Where do animals have the ability to do these things? That's not an animalistic trait.
Yeah. I
Our
just
bodies are animalistic, but our minds are godly. That's the difference.
Yeah. I just forwarded you the email to for the PayPal on there. So to see hopefully, as Rune said, thank you. Thank you, Azrune, for being on. I will also look for that.
That was thanks, Scribe. That was deep. I appreciated that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he definitely gets. Yeah, I was looking through the thing I had on dimensions because I had written something I was investigating a few months ago. Man, I got to look to see if I can find it tomorrow. I'm looking through all my documents, and I went up to about the ninth dimension, I think, ninth or the 12th. But I had, when I went with time for the fourth, the manipulation of time for the fifth, I can't remember what I put for the sixth and the seventh. And then I had a few up to the fifth, the negative fifth dimension. Yeah, I gotta look through my files to see.
I bet there's a download of AI of Matthias DeStefano did a show on Gaia. I never, well, actually, I used to subscribe to Gaia when I used to watch David Wilcock or whatever for Secret Space Program and stuff back in 2014. But I used to, but I haven't been a member for a long time. And but I did get like a free membership for like a month, and I watched Matthias DeStefano break down the dimensions, and it was like some of the most fascinating information I'd ever heard. Like, I mean, it was super deep. I was taking notes. Like I'm gonna pay for a month just to like take like really in-depth notes because it was really deep. I suggest anybody like watch that. I don't know if it's called Infinity. I don't know, but maybe the AI, we could get notes from it somewhere. But it was really deep. Have you heard of it?
Infinity?
No. Well, the whatever program Matthias, whatever program show that he did on Gaia. About the dimensions, because he allegedly remembers like he's got so bad he's recovered so much of his memories from many of his lifetimes and stuff, and the way he breaks down dimensions, it's pretty fascinating because with the math and the and a lot of it's like sacred geometry, like the different shapes, like three-dimensional shapes, whatever from the triangle to all those like high dodecahedrons, like all those dodecahedrons, all those
Yeah.
all those things.
Well, I think the triangle is two-dimensional. The pyramid is the three.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking through.
In the fourth, you could see inside the pyramid, right?
See, that's the thing, because even inside is still in a third dimension. It's just the inner dimension. To say, okay, length, width, and height can go inside of the pyramid as well. So if you hollow it out, so the fourth dimension, that's why I was looking for this document. Time, and then the manipulation of time being the fifth dimension. I forgot what I wrote for the sixth and the seventh. Yeah, I got to look through it tomorrow. GP says the human body is the most, it's the most, I'm not sure if it's the most advanced because, and we don't know. Yeah, you're right, the full brain power. But when I look at how the wasp has a liquid that it can inject into another animal to control it, that's pretty advanced. Yeah, it's kind of deep.
So you can't really say brain power, because brain power, you're talking about reasoning, you're talking about thought logistics, logical things, whatever. It's more of is it a built-in awareness? Just like they know how to do certain things. You're like, how does this thing know how to?
Not an awareness, but like it's an awareness that I think it shows that we are more than one organism. So the liquid in the wasp that can cause mind control might be like bacteria in our saliva that can do things that we have no control over. But the fact that it's directed at its own reproduction, it's saying, wow, this is some deep stuff. The fact that, how do you, it could be like an innate thing with the larva eating the caterpillar's flesh, but avoiding the organs so the caterpillar lives. It's like a type of zombification. It's really like, when I think about it, I'm like, how in the world there's something like, there's no way that that's happening by chance. The beetle that, the bombardier beetle that creates the two liquids that when they're expelled, they create an explosive, basically. That's unbelievable when you think about it. stuff like
But we're
that.
the only species that can learn from these animals. Like we can observe them and learn their
We
techniques.
can, but now we think we can determine consciousness, but plants can determine more. It gets deep. Yeah, and conscious. I saw the thing, but thank you for the PayPal. I really appreciate that. I hope Scribe can find the thing I sent him. The thing conscious says
Oh, shit.
Matthias Di Stefano Gaia show is called Initiation. Okay, he is an intro, and it gives you a link. Oh, here's an intro. Okay, and it gives you a link for the free trial. You can send it to me on email, or remember the regular um, uh, comment. It'll hold a link, or email.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to post it there in case anyone wanted to click on
Yeah,
it. They
yeah,
can open it up,
yeah,
like in
definitely.
the chat. Just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I didn't watch that intro, but it's like an intro and it's kind of it's an
yeah.
advertisement. But they also
hmm
give you a link to go
Yeah.
Gaia for free for a little bit.
So Mattia, the name sounds familiar. Matthias Di Stefano, definitely.
Yeah, Matthias Di Stefano. I
Yeah,
don't know how to pronounce it, but I
yeah.
think it's
The
Matthias Di
Matthias
Stefano.
sounds very, very. John Francis says good vid. Yeah, so he must have saw it. Cymatics was a deep one too. Like, yeah, that one was deep.
Cymatics is on Gaia.
I don't know if it's on Gaia, but I used to have the videotape. I bought it back in the 90s, I think. No, the early 2000s. That's when I bought it. And it's about, like, you can see the videos on YouTube where they use sound and it shapes. The sand goes in different geometric shapes when the sound is like on a sound plate.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff's so fascinating.
yeah,
And
it's
the same thing
definitely.
with did you get the? I sent you an email. I think some links to like the stars from with the Canon with the Nikon P900 camera.
Oh,
They
yes,
the
yes.
stars.
Yeah, I wrote you back on that one. Yeah,
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, it's such fascinating stuff.
yeah, that one was deep. I was looking at her the video with the girl talking about the water and
Yeah,
and the memory and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's kind of deep.
yeah, that's really
Yes,
deep. At one point, I gotta send you a video. There's this woman that's like really, she's like a gemologist. Like she's like the science of crystals and the crystals growing. Like she was actually this like really brilliant like person in her own right in the
Yeah.
regular world. But like it's so fascinating. I can't even remember. It was like 5 years ago that I watched it. But again, I gotta watch that again, and I'll send it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exorcism is right. It's frequencies. Yeah, it's frequencies on the sand with the cymatic. Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I'm gonna look for it. Anything, Scribe? Are you good or?
No, I'm processing the thing right now that
Oh, all
you
right, all right.
sent. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh, and I
yeah,
wanted to mention Medical Medium. He did a podcast about honey because I heard you mention that when you were vegan, you didn't even have honey. But
yeah, yeah.
he said that insects are the ones that are they're kind of like robots. They actually said their consciousness is a hive consciousness. So not that like we should go around killing insects, but like they don't really have a soul. Like he's saying that animals, like I understood what Scribe was saying, but like animals can play. Like deer, you can see deer playing with each other. Like dogs that they play, but they don't do what humans do. But they do have a level of consciousness and like a soul that like insects don't have. So he's just basically saying that like the honey was actually they were created to collect the pollen and get all the different phytochemical compounds that are like so amazing for us to consume. So like raw honey is like a really really important healing food for us. So even if you're vegan, like a lot of the vegans may be like, well, no, I don't kill anything, but a few of the bees die if they do like factory farm bees, but like they're really just like robotic drones. You know what I'm saying? Collecting the pollen and whatever the stuff from all the flowers, and but it's a fascinating podcast if you ever want to hear about it. Not that you're vegan anymore, but I just wanted to share that. But the animals do play a little bit, so they have a little bit more of a soul. You know what I'm saying? Like he's saying they do have a soul. It's different than ours.
Yeah, no, that's definitely.
Well, I'm speaking more of outside of this thing. They can play. They can do certain things that seem humanistic. They have emotions. They have a lot of things that could blow your mind, like the crows, where they have just crazy intelligence. They can remember stuff. They can bring you gifts and all these things, and the dogs can protect you and all these things. There's definitely that piece there. But outside of that, of the wonderment of what is this? Where do we come from? And going way beyond that question is a realm I don't think that they're even interested in, or I mean, they
Well, is
fall
it
more.
possible? Is it possible because they
Mhm.
already know it all, like they're beyond us?
Beyond us. Well, I'm just saying that I think that gift of wonderment is like comes with responsibility, and it's not just given to any being, um, simply because they could abuse it easily. So I think
Right.
that discernment or that differentiation of you have like an automated thing to where you're part of the ecosystem, but you can also participate in love and these other things, emotions within that. But I think that's the limitation. That's where it stops. Anything beyond that, trying to change it or trying to destroy it is outside of your realm of understanding because you're part of that ecosystem. We're not part of the ecosystem. That's what makes us kind of artificial in one way, but at the same time and unique. But yeah, that's the hard part to explain.
Right. Right. Yeah, I hear you. You're
Country
welcome.
Poison. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Scribe just sent me the thing. Thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate it. This is it's great. As much as I can stream, I will stream. It's yeah, the schedule, the knowledge. I mean, you bring a lot of knowledge too. I mean, Mr. X, Scribe, this is deep. I gotta find that dimension thing. I'll look for it tomorrow at lunch.
Be a great topic too. The
Yeah,
dimensions.
yeah, dimensions exactly, because the difference, and that's the thing, the difference between dimensions and then the different planes of existence would could be looked at as channels, because you wonder, you say, we do see where the radio and the television can be tuned to a different station, and it's on the same plane of existence basically, or is it, what would we classify that as? A different channel, right? A different,
Hmm.
uh, if plane of existence is the right word. Yeah, I think the different channels would be on the plane of existence. So the plane of existence would be the basis, because now I'm trying to put it in a way where anybody could understand it, because I definitely see what the mind was saying, where he was a little bit like wondering, like, what is a dimension, like what is it
Hmm.
can get confusing, and
Oh,
that's why.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I gotta find that, because I had a really good document that I was writing on a couple months ago about, and I got up to about the ninth dimension, but I don't remember what I put for the sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth. But it got to where, um, yeah, it just it's deep. It really makes you wonder, what we're in. Like, what is this? What do we you know what's weird about this? Not all animals eat other animals. Yeah, definitely. But you have animals that eat plants, and then you have plants that eat animals,
Yeah.
right? It's amazing when you think about that. It's like,
No, but
holy
no, but
smokes.
here's the thing: you are the subject. We are the subjects of this thing. It's like if we're building a terrarium, a special place for a certain animal, just like we do in zoos or whatever. Okay, this thing needs gorilla needs a nice large open area, needs stream or something, and needs you can't just throw it in a cage and hope. So it very seems like this is designed specifically for us to mess around with, but at the same time, yeah, it's you can abuse it. So I mean, you're obviously seeing a lot of evidence of that today.
Hmm.
It's gotten so far ridiculous that you can't even recognize it anymore. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, it's mutated into something that's unrecognizable at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just existence itself, which I guess is the whole, base of all of this. And then everything is part of that, is part of existence, part of reality. To say we have the dimensions, the the different channels, or I'm trying to think of another word for that. And that alone is kind of, it makes you really wonder, like, wow, what would be in the same space that we're occupying, like a different television channel.
Hmm.
So multiple things could be inhabiting the same thing at one time. And could there be a blending of that where you have two different channels blending into one another? I mean, I'm trying to think in a television thing where you're watching one thing like radio stations. I think people have experienced like listening to one thing and you hear like little bits of another program that somehow leaks through, or maybe the dial is in between two stations. So, like the station, that might be a word for it, that we're on is the third dimension, and whatever we maybe call it, station Earth,
Mhm.
and somebody else might be third dimension, station something else. And it lets us chart the way. Yeah, it's definitely some deep thoughts, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what if dreams about what we have about our situations, like we're in a dream, but really we're just
Oh,
thinking we're seeing another channel. That's all we're seeing, us in another channel, living a certain life
mhm.
when we sleep.
Oh, Conscious left a private message. She said, yeah, she left the stream up, but she'd still be listening. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Conscious Rising. I really appreciate you
Thank you
being
for
here.
coming on. Great
It
job.
was great supporting the show, being on here, adding knowledge. It's amazing. Yeah, it's 1:50, so I know it's still 12:50 in Panama, right, Scribe? Yeah, so it's a little.
Yeah, it's an hour. Yeah, it's an hour earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little early. It's been a long day for me, man. It's just kind of feel ever since I got that intravenous, and man, it's been almost a year. I've been healing my arm. It's like this, man, and I feel because it's on my left side. Sometimes I feel a tightness in my heart. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Um, but yeah, I figure I'll rest a little. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay up. But
Of
if you
course.
want to hang out with Mr. X, or I mean,
It's all
No,
good.
that's
It's
good.
all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just
it's gonna
gonna.
get off soon anyway. It's already one
Yeah,
over here.
I'll definitely. Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, Scribe, and yeah, definitely, Mr. X. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it for being here. And I'll stream tonight to Wednesday. Tonight's Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate that. Magnesium. Yeah, definitely will
Have,
help. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good
have a
night.
good night.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.